Cool. For a second there, like John hadn't said anything in a while, and like still wasn't responding. I was like, did John go somewhere? Are we gonna have to
John
redo
Davies
this whole
is
thing?
classically non-responsive.
John Davies is fairly listless, I would say. That's
Is that the reputation I
even
have
his
around
protest, even his protest to being called listless was just him going, ugh.
Is that really what you guys think of me, or?
John, this is why you'll never get a job at
Anyways,
BuzzFeed, because you're listless.
Oh boy!
Oh man!
Oh,
I
man.
just got
Here's
it.
Top 17 things John Davies won't get out of bed for. Number 15 will shock you. Yeah, so I guess we're here. I guess we're started. I guess we're day 2 of 2 of Ride Button's Shame of the Year 2016. I thought maybe some more advanced warning would yield in a better subscriber turnout, but still just Slayer. But that's fine. We appreciate Slayer. So, God damn it. When we last...
Hold on. To be fair,
left.
it still was like only a couple hours of warning.
No, I posted about it like on Friday. I was
did you?
yo guys, get ready for this Sunday night. It's happening.
But that was on Twitter, right? Not on...
No, I posted about it, I think, on GameWisp. And then earlier, I posted about it on GameWisp and said, hey, details will be on Sunday, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. Whatever.
I still don't even really know what we're doing.
Game of the year?
That's because you're listless, John. We've been over this.
Oh god, yeah, it's because I'm listless. I forgot this was Game of the Year. That's right.
Hey, guys. Wait. Was there really a small part of you that forgot what we were here to talk about?
No, of course I remember.
You're so... John,
he's so just listless that he can't sell.
Yeah,
he can't sell the joke.
You're fucking so you're so ever the straight man that I just I just buy it every time. I can never.
But here's
never
the
tell
thing.
with
John
you.
can't be listless, or he wouldn't have invited him to share his list.
Yeah, that's the one requirement. Really, is that you need to have a list.
You need to have a list.
So I guess we
That's why
take it all
fired Andy.
back.
Hey-o.
Guys, we're so funny. Oh my gosh, I can't even.
I hereby retract my list.
You guys, I feel so low energy.
Right? Do I need to crack open this Red Bull?
I don't even
Would you
have
say
a-
that you're feeling listless tonight, Keith? Is that the word of the night?
No, we're list full. We got so many lists. Look at this list we got on screen right here.
That's a pretty handsome list.
That's a good list. Maybe I should get a coffee Soylent. Maybe I should do that.
I'm drinking that Red Bull. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm going to grab one of those from the fridge. Be right back.
All right. While Keith's doing that, I will recap and say that last time we did Keith's top 10 list. We did John's top 10 list. So far, all the games that we have I was going to say all the games we've talked about, but that's not fair to say. It's actually all the games that have been on the lists so far. Stellaris, Pokemon Go, Arctic Alive, Pokemon Sun and Moon, which since the last recording, I went out, I bought Pokemon Moon, and I've played a very small amount of it, and it seems cool, and I'm enjoying it. Got Stardew Valley, Titanfall 2, Overwatch, Final Fantasy 15, No Man's Sky, The Witcher 3 DLC, which is kind of a cheat. That's like 2 things in one.
No. Because we talked about it weeks ago.
But
and that's what you told me to do.
Keith, Whether or not what you just said is even true, which I have my doubts, I didn't say we need to do something about this Witcher 3 DLC thing. This can't stand. I just said it's kind of two things in one, which it is. There was Doom, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Well, only one of them came out in 2016, though, right?
Is that true?
Don't care.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter, yeah.
I mean,
I don't think any of us had played the first one last year, right?
We could just change it to be the one that came out this year.
Release.
I think
No,
they
I would like it to
both
be. I would like it to
came
be.
out. Whatever, dude. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or were you gonna change it just now?
No. I would like it to be just both.
Okay, fine. We got Rise of the Tomb Raider, we got Firewatch, Oxenfree, Dark Souls 3, The Witness, Thumper, Inside, Kentucky Route Zero, Act 4. And since we last recorded, I went and purchased Thumper, and I have played a fair amount of it. And yeah, it's really cool and really weird, and is like beautiful and sort of awe-inspiring to look at, but it's just like insanely hard.
How are your hands feeling?
Yeah. I heard multiple people say that playing Thumper makes them like grip the controller to the point of like pain in their hands, and I was like, well, I'm not really that kind of guy. Like, what kind of game would this have to be to make you do that? But like, yeah, totally. Like, you just have an iron grip on that fucking controller. It's ridiculous.
The other thing I do a lot while playing Thumper by accident is that when I'm need to do the turns, and I'll press the analog stick so furiously that I'll accidentally hit the PlayStation home button or whatever, and I'll go back to the home screen. I'm like, God fucking damn it! It just like takes me out.
That's interesting.
Right back in.
I meant to ask you if you play with the D-pad or the analog stick, because the game kind of tells you to use the analog stick, but I feel like the game you have to play so fast that like the analog stick just doesn't cut it.
I've had that thought, and like I started off using the analog stick, and then at one point where things were just getting so fast, I'm like, I wonder if using the D-pad would be more advantageous, just because it's in theory more precise. But at that point, I guess my muscle memory had just grown so accustomed to it that it wasn't. I couldn't really do it.
It has its challenges. Like, besides just being crazily difficult, if I had to like level one complaint about it, it's that like you can use the D-pad or the analog stick to move, and as your like one button input, or at least the one that I've experienced so far, you can either push X or R1, and like neither one of them feels totally adequate, and I find myself like constantly just flipping back and forth between like all different control methods and like never being totally satisfied with one of them.
No, yeah, I've just been using X.
So out of all of the games that we have on here that I haven't played, the one that I decided to go and check out was not on the list, and it was Hitman.
Yes, yeah.
It's a good game, Hitman.
There was like a weird, almost comical problem we had with Keith doing that, where like he was trying to log into
you have
my
no idea
Xbox
how many
account.
weird problems I had playing Hitman.
He was logging into my Xbox account on his Xbox to play Hitman, but he kept getting signed out, and we didn't know why. And it turned out it was because I was sitting in front of my TV, and my Kinect just kept seeing me on the camera and automatically logging me in.
Yep.
Guys, wait 1
Kyle's
second.
Here.
I did something really stupid. I
What?
didn't start recording until 15 seconds ago.
That's fine.
Okay.
Let's do another time.is clap.
All right.
Okay. Wait, you did the clap and didn't go, wait, I should press the record button.
That, you know what? That is pretty suspect, but I feel like we don't have time to stop and really consider it. Let's clap at 45.
Okay. No, I was just in Skype. I was like, yeah, I'm recording. I'm in Skype.
Yeah, you know that audio recording program, Skype?
Yeah.
It's
so,
fine. I have a shitty quality backup of you guys, so it's not a big deal.
Okay.
we can use, a minute of that.
Anyways, yeah, Keith, how was your time with Hitman?
So this is the most I've ever played of a Hitman game. I own Hitman Blood Money and have tried maybe 6 times to play it, and each time I get so frustrated with the tutorial that I just quit. Quit.
Yeah, I had that
have had that same
experience
experience
multiple times before I finally like dug into Hitman Blood Money and really got into it.
The
Well,
best
now,
way I've
Kyle-
ever experienced Hitman Blood Money was through, I guess, the looming specter of Run Button whenever I'm on the show of Adam Biskowski. whenever I view him playing Blood Money, it's like the most flawless, just entertaining video game experience I've
Great.
ever seen. And then I go to play it, and I'm like, why am I not having that same experience?
Yeah.
And I kind of had a similar experience with this Hitman where I really was just like, so first of all, I was having the problem where I kept on getting forcibly signed out because the Kinect was signing Kyle back in automatically until, what did you do? Just put something in front of the camera?
Yeah, I have my Kinect on a like third party like TV stand that came with a little thing to put over the camera that I never use.
Oh, great. Okay. Because, like, I bet you use the Kinect voice command all the time and you never, ever use the camera ever?
Pretty much. I mean, I guess it had been so seamless I wasn't even considering it, but I had been using it for automatic login.
Yeah, good point. So I was having a lot of other weird problems where first of all, it took forever to fucking download. I don't know why. My Xbox seems to download stuff at normal speeds usually, but it was going significantly slower. Then when it was finally playable...
It's weird that I have a lot of experience downloading games at your house, Keith, but I've done it a bunch, and I feel like your download speeds are pretty bad, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when I have like 45 down and up on my computer, and my Xbox seems to download pretty. But every once in a while, something is really slow, and you seem to have that problem fairly often.
Maybe,
but
yeah.
So it took forever, and then when I finally got in, the menu was super confusing, and it seemed like all the content was redded out, and I couldn't play anything. And then I finally figured out how to actually play the tutorial, and I didn't like the tutorial level at all. I was getting very frustrated. Yes. And then I couldn't figure out how to play the next thing, and it's because this is a piece of information I didn't know. You can buy Hitman by the level.
Yeah, it's an episodic game.
Which is what you had done.
Yes.
And so I had to go in and install the other levels manually. Even though I had just been like, download Hitman. It was like, okay, you downloaded Hitman. And then I was like, okay, time to play the first level. And it was like, you haven't downloaded Hitman. Well, and I was like, dude, I super have.
Is Paris not baked into the...
No, it was another 4 gigs I had to download.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was awful. And then as soon as I got that done, that installed, it was like... It was now 6 hours after I had initially decided that I wanted to play Hitman. Yeah. And I loaded up the first level, launched it, and it immediately catastrophically crashed.
Oh, okay. That's pretty bad. I was going to say, up to that point, I don't know if any of those things about like download speeds and not knowing that it was an episodic game that you didn't have all the content for. Like, I don't know if that's really criticism you can level at Hitman.
I literally could not figure out how to play the first level for like 20 minutes. And then I was like,
oh, I have a personal problem, Keith.
I had to download more stuff. And then throughout my time with the tutorial, I kept getting signed out and booted out to the menu.
Yeah. Those are some unfortunate circumstances.
Right. But... once I played the first level, I was like, "Oh, this game's really great."
Okay, cool. Yeah, you know what? We last time we talked about like why is this Hitman so much more popular than previous games, and the one thing that I knew but was for some reason like not remembering at the time of the conversation was that I think probably the difference between this Hitman and all the other ones is that this one has a lot of systems baked into it. That do a lot to surface the best parts of Hitman to like Hitman has always had a ton of really awesome, cool stuff in every level that you could do, but like you kind of had to be really good at Hitman and really know what you were doing to find that stuff. Whereas this one is really good about surfacing that to like all players so that everyone can enjoy the cool stuff about Hitman.
So as someone who's not played any other Hitman besides the first 3/4 of the tutorial for Blood Money 6 times.
Right.
Is that stuff like... So the thing that I was surprised about that I didn't know existed in Hitman was like the tracking of objectives where you'll overhear someone talking on the phone and it'll be like, oh, this is important. Do you want to like track this path
do you want to track this? Yeah, it's like... So that's what's new is like in Hitman before, it used to always be that there was like dozens of different ways, many of them specifically planned in the game, not just like emergent stuff that you could stumble upon. It was like real things that were built into the level, but they just never really told you. You just kind of had to happen upon it.
Right.
Whereas,
and so
yeah, like
so
you
this
said,
one
in
will
this
tell you.
one,
And I kind of
yeah.
feel like it's a great idea that they baked it in there, but maybe they go a little bit too far in terms of just like it will just
Yeah.
straight up tell you where to go and when for every step.
yeah,
And I feel like it would be great to tell you maybe where the first thing is, or to
Yep.
tell you like this is a path that you're on, but
Yeah,
maybe not to give you a.
I mean,
tag
you
for it, I
can
don't know.
turn. I think there are. I forget how specifically you can break it down in the menu, but you can obviously turn some of that stuff off.
If-
But I think you can
Okay.
make it just set it to say there's an opportunity available in your surrounding area, but it won't necessarily say what the opportunity is, if I recall correctly.
I could be wrong about this, but I don't think it's the case if I remember correctly, which, like I say, I might not be. I think it's just either on or off for that thing, and I kind of felt like, well, off is a little too difficult to
Hard,
like
yeah.
find that cool stuff. But like what I didn't like about the tracking system is it's not just like, hey, it tells you like you need to get to this part of the level to get this weapon or something, but it'll specifically say like, well, to get to this area you need this kind of disguise and you can find one here, where I feel like figuring out what disguise you need and then finding that disguise is like a part of the Hitman
Yeah.
gameplay that should be left to the player's own devices.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of times it's not even a hard thing to figure out because it's
No.
just like, okay, well, in order to get into this dressing room, you have to be dressed up as one of the stylists. That makes
and
total
then you-
sense. So it's
and
not
then you
like
just
that.
need to find a stylist on his own and just like knock him out and take his outfit. It's not like
Right,
a
yeah.
super hard thing.
I also this is a piece of color that I saw on a loading screen that I thought was really funny. Where like how in stealth games you just like fucking dump people places, you put them in closets or throw them over a railing or whatever. There was a
And
little
do I.
hint. There's a little hint on one of the loading screens. It was like, if you put someone in a bin or a closet, they will never be found.
The dark reality of the Hitman universe.
Yeah. So I like when that stuff. It's always funny when that stuff breaks down, where
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, I have now 30 people that have been asleep in various bins across the world. None of them have
Yeah.
been found, and they will sleep forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's... I don't know if all the Hitman games were like that. I agree. I always have found it very strange that, like, people you knock out never wake up. No one ever finds hidden bodies. But at the same time, like, if those things could happen, it would feel weird and unfair and too difficult, I feel like.
Well, they find bodies that you don't put in bins or closets.
Yes.
I've had
They
that
put 'em
happen.
in the body bags, right?
Yeah, they put them in body bag. Well, not if you don't kill them, and I don't kill them because you lose points.
Yeah.
I try to make it through every level, only killing the targets.
Yeah.
But but I actually feel like maybe it's designed like this, or maybe it's like maybe it's designed like this, or maybe it's not. But it feels like if you don't hide someone, the game will go out of its way to have someone find it eventually, even if it's in a really secluded spot.
Yeah, I'm no expert on this game, but I'm pretty sure that that's not how Hitman does things. I think it's usually
Okay.
just like it's only if they happen to find it. Because I think even
Yeah.
in one level,
Maybe-
I knocked a guy out and like didn't put him in like a designated hiding spot. I just hid him somewhere and no one ever found him.
Yeah, maybe it's that they just they design the guard rotations really well.
Yeah,
where it's
probably.
like okay, there's only one guard here and there's no one else around, and so if I murder him or if I knock him out and leave him here, eventually that guard goes somewhere else and a new guard replaces him. But if he's knocked out, then the new guard will just stumble across
Yeah,
a body.
Hitman, like one of the signatures of the Hitman series is that the clockwork like AI pathing is like pretty elaborate.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was really good. You only have the first 2 levels bought.
Yes.
So I only played the first 2 levels, but I'm considering buying a third and playing more of it, just because I don't know
Cool.
getting through the second level, the drug company level.
I had a lot of trouble with that one.
I had a lot of trouble with it, but I also was playing through explicitly not following any path. I was just like, can I just murder
Yeah.
these people? Ended up doing it in a pretty boring way where I was just able to kind of just shoot both of them in the head and escape.
Look for the cannons. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I don't know if you did that, Kyle. For the Sapienza level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did not do that.
Oh, man.
I think
That was probably the best moment I had in that game. Just look for the cannons in the Sapienza level.
So,
and then
so
you will
for
be
whatever reason,
satisfied.
because I had trouble with it, and because I don't think I didn't follow a path intentionally, and that is it is definitely less interesting to not follow a path. And for whatever reason, I was like, I'm gonna go replay this and get more challenges, and then I was like, ugh, do I want to? But I'm just
pretty
not
fun.
good at replaying stuff. I also think it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should
But
go
anyways,
back
yeah,
to the list.
first of all, I also finished Sapienza last time I played it. So if I ever go back to it, which I will, I'll have to buy episode 3. So maybe just wait until I do that, and you can continue to mooch off my copy of Hitman. But
Oh yeah, sure.
yeah, wouldn't be a Run Button Game of the Year podcast if we didn't spend the first 15 to 20 minutes of it talking about a game that's not even on anybody's list.
Kyle, the last time we left off, though, we were about to do your list, but you were too tired.
That's true. Yeah.
Do you want to do your list now?
Yeah, I got my list right here. The one thing I want to do, this is sort of like, I think, like a more unspoken thing about us doing Game of the Year lists is like, it's so kind of arbitrary, like which games make it on the list and which ones don't. It's like sometimes, or maybe I'm the only one that does this. It's like sometimes I will like leave off a game that I feel like is ultimately better than the game I put on the list, but it's just because there's something about that one that I like it more, or it feels better to put it on the list. I don't know. It's
So
like,
you mean that your criteria is that to be on your favorite games list, you have to like it more? It sounds pretty on point to me.
okay, wait, maybe I'll rephrase it. It's almost like the one I leave off the list, I even maybe like more than the one I put on the list, but there's just like something about it I feel like it more deserves to be on a list, or rather it's like it's a game that I want to like talk about on a podcast and
You would rather
people.
put, if you had a 10 and 11, you'd rather put the 11 on the list if you thought that it would be more interesting to be on a
Deserving
list.
of recognition.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. I'll explain it when I get to it, because it actually has to do with my number 9, not even my 10.
Okay.
My number 10 is Pokemon Go. That's why it's sort of like locked at number 10, because kind of like we mentioned when Keith brought it up, it's like the game itself is not really that good, but it's really everything kind of around it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I had a ton of fun with that game. At some point, I stopped playing it, and Nicole for a little while kept asking me like, how come, like, what happened with Pokemon Go? How come you're not playing it anymore? How come you don't like Pokemon Go anymore? I'm like, it's not that I don't like it. It's just a free-to-play mobile game that I played every day for a month. Like,
Right,
I'm good.
Yeah. Hey, there's just people who will play a game forever. They'll just find their game and they'll play it for. There's still people playing. There's still people who haven't switched over to Counter-Strike Source.
Well, I think there might have been a lot of people. I don't know that much about the Counter-Strike community. I think there were a number of people that jumped from like Counter-Strike 1.6 to Counter-Strike Go. Like, oh, Source is bullshit, but Go is good or something. I don't know.
Yeah, at first I thought you made a mistake. I'm like, oh, you mean Counter-Strike Go? And then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, wait, you mean Counter-Strike Source? And I was like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
What was the last thing? Oh, yeah. So the one thing I will say that is I like about the actual game itself is that a lot of people kind of got all bent out of shape
Because maybe Pokemon was a portal to a demon world?
yeah, about all
Is
the
that
people.
why a lot of people got bent out of shape?
Oh boy. No, I think there are a lot of people bent out of shape about like, oh, you can't battle your friends, or like the battle system isn't fun, it's stupid. And like, yeah, it is kind of stupid, but I don't feel like that's what the game is about. I think what's kind of cool about the game is it sort of distills Pokemon down to what is probably the most fun aspect of Pokemon, which is just finding and catching new Pokemon.
Well, wait a minute. I haven't played Pokemon Go. What is the battle system in it? And why is it
Nothing. You
lackluster?
tap.
It's like two Pokemon stand in front of each other, and you just tap to attack as much as you can until like a
And
super
if you're
meter
a higher level,
fills
you
up.
just win because your taps work better than the other
when
taps.
when
So
your
it's
super
like,
meter fills up, you hold it down, and then it does a move.
It's like that medieval game, Infinity Blade, right?
No,
No,
It is
Infinity
not that
Blade
at
is a lot more complicated.
like
right.
yeah, Infinity Blade is like several tiers higher than this. I'm almost
Right.
insulted that you would.
It's
you
more,
would draw that
it's more
comparison.
like Cookie Clicker.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to get a sense. I'm trying to use my reference points.
Yeah, I think there is like some dodging you can do. Like I think it kind of tries to be sort of like Infinity Blade, but it's just nowhere
The
near
dodges
as like
are very
responsive.
inconsistent, and
Yeah.
dodging from something just sets you up to be attacked again. So it's sort of like, it's sort of if I can compare it to itself, it's sort of like the Pokemon move Protect, where you're saving yourself from one move only for
my
it to be their
goodness.
turn again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think ultimately the battle system in Pokemon Go, really what it is it's just a formality. Really what it comes down to is any Pokemon that's a higher level than another will beat it unless like the lower Pokemon has like a type advantage. It's really all it is.
Yeah.
But I think it works for what the game is ultimately. But we don't have to talk anymore about that because we already did. Number 9 is Dragon Quest Builders.
Ooh.
That sounds like a fun game, and I want to wear a hat.
Do you want to wear a hat?
You can wear a monster hat in that game, right?
No?
You can wear all the Pokemon and all the dragons on your head, all the monster dragons on your head.
No.
Are you sure?
I mean, no, I'm not sure. Oh, wait, I guess there is different. For some reason, I was thinking that there wasn't head armor, but there is. There's like different helmets you can wear. So, like, I guess if you get later in the game, those helmets start to be dragons, then maybe yes.
I remember that the first thing I had seen from that game was just the main character with like just stacks of monsters on their head.
That might be some. There's a lot of different Dragon Quest offshoots, so that might be something else.
It's possible. It seemed really recent though.
Slayer says
Someone
Pokemon
knows what
Go
I'm talking
sucks.
about.
Slayer says Pokemon Go sucks unless you're in a major city. I don't think that's true. I think it sucks if you are in like a for real like rural ass area. Then yes.
Kyle
But I
lives
feel
one
like-
tier above the middle of nowhere, and he seemed to have fun with it. So
Yeah, I live in like some suburbs, emphasis on sub more than herb, and like it's
Yeah.
fine.
Kai-
Yeah, for sure. It's not the same as playing in a city, but it's fine.
And I lived in a regular town, and I had I had a few dozen Pokestops around me that were in walking distance, and I had 2 or 3 gyms that were in walking distance, 3 gyms. So it's not that bad.
Yeah. Boop, 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 boop. So the reason I brought up that weird thing about putting a game
why'd you
on
bring
and
that
ripping
up?
a thing off. Yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe like when I said it that you were going to understand more what I was saying and sort of like
I know.
pick
I
up on
totally
it.
know what you mean. I feel like you've described this better previously.
Yeah, I
where
probably
you're
did
just
a
saying
bad
that like
job.
you want to see this game on a list because you
Yeah.
really really like it, even if there's a game that you like more.
Look, a good example is last year with us putting on Rare Replay. Like, Rare Replay was literally just a collection of old games. Like, there was no reason to need to put it on a top 10 list, but we were just really tickled with the idea that there were a lot of cool games in that collection and that it was really cheap, and we just
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah,
It's kind of like when I wanted Her Story on the list, but you know.
Oh, boy,
I think
John. I don't. What can I say?
You've made me listless.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Saucy Rossi says that I might be thinking of the world of Final Fantasy.
Maybe. I don't know anything about that, but sure. I mean, if the world of Final Fantasy is about stacking monsters on your head or whatever, then yeah, it would be pretty hard to not know that that's what that's referring to. But anyways, the game I almost put on the list instead of Dragon Quest Builders was Picross 3D Round 2, which is like a phenomenal game that I think takes Picross 3D, which was already fantastic, and like adds like an interesting twist that, you know, kind of changes Picross and makes it different from... It makes Picross something different than it's been before while still being the same. I think it's really great. I think I'll probably end up playing it for like 1 billion hours.
Sorry, which game is this?
Picross 3D 2?
Did you forget to talk about Dragon Quest Builders?
No, Keith, no. I'm saying that this Picross 3D 2 was the game I almost put on the list instead of Dragon Quest Builders.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, like, I think ultimately Picross 3D Round 2 is a better game than Dragon Quest Builders, but I just like the idea of having Dragon Quest Builders on my list more.
I mean, Kyle,
than
the only
that
important thing about your top 10 list is that it's on your top 10 list. I don't think there's any real... I don't think you have to feel defensive about...
Well, no, it's... But the thing
Stop
is, though...
getting so fucking defensive.
Picross... No, I need to defend this. Picross 3D Round 2 is an incredible game that I love, and I think deserves to be on my list, but I'm not putting it on my list. And I have to carry that burden of guilt with me for the rest of my life.
It kind of sounds like you fucked up, Kyle.
Yeah. It's,
Anyways, Dragon Quest
Picross
Builders...
3D knows that you slighted it.
Dragon Quest Builders is a really cool game that sort of like unabashedly rips off Minecraft, but then what I love about it is that it takes all of the things of Minecraft and sort of rearranges them to make a game that's almost nothing like Minecraft.
Fun and interesting and not made by Notch. A human penis. I'm in support of anything that maybe ruins Notch's day.
I don't really have many strong negative feelings about Notch, but I cannot really claim to like him that much. Yeah.
Judging from his depressive Twitter rants that he sometimes goes on, I don't think you really need to do much to ruin his day from the looks of it, despite his worth of billions of dollars.
Yeah. You could talk. Yeah, I mean, all you have to do to ruin his day is talk about like women's rights.
Ooh.
Well, let's not talk about Notch because we're not here to talk about Minecraft. We're talking about Dragon Quest Builders.
Let's hear about Dragon Quest Builders.
So the only game in the Dragon Quest series that I've played is the first one, but that ended up being perfect for Dragon Quest Builders because Builders is like this weird like throwback specifically to the first Dragon Quest. It's like kind of a sequel in a weird way that it's kind of spoilery to really get into it, but like just getting out into the overworld and realizing that the music was playing was like a modern arrangement of the like NES music from Dragon Quest 1, and I was like, holy shit, I'm in love with this. You're a little dude who can build things.
How
you're
little?
in a world that has been cursed, and all the other people in the world have forgotten how to build. They are literally amazed by your ability to take two things and make a new thing out of the two things.
Oh my God.
So you kind of go around essentially like rebuilding civilization. And it all looks like Minecraft. Everything's made out of blocks. But what's interesting is they kind of... Voxels is sort of a different thing. But
voxel style.
It's kind of like they interpret Minecraft almost as like the most literal 3D translation of like an NES game of like, what if you took an NES game and just literally gave everything a third dimension? That's what like you would see. That's what it would just look like Minecraft. And so it's sort of like you're existing in like a 8-bit world that's in 3 dimensions. Like in Dragon Quest 1, none of the buildings are depicted as having roofs. Like they're just walls, and then you walk into because everything's in one world. And so then in Dragon Quest Builders, when you're building houses and stuff, you don't have to put roofs on anything. Like you just put up 4 walls, and it's like the game's like, yeah, you just made a house.
Nice house. Very cool house. Can you put a roof, though?
I believe you can, yes.
Because I feel like a roof
believe
would
you
really make
can.
the things that you're making look cool and finished.
I don't know. If you're stacking a lot of hats on your dude, then you probably don't want a roof.
You're not stacking hats, John. It's World of Final Fantasy. We're over this.
God damn it.
It's just a fun little game. You go around, you fight enemies, you collect different resources to craft a lot of things. But what's really cool is like your character doesn't have a level. Instead, your town has a level. And like every time you make a new building or put a new like piece of furniture in a room or something, it like adds experience points to the town, and the town levels up. And like as you go, you get new blueprints of like how to make different kinds of rooms. Like first you start with a crude kitchen that's just like it can make a few different kinds of food, and then you learn how to build new things that like upgrade the kitchen to fancier versions that can make more food. And same thing with like your blacksmith, and like new people join the town as you start like leveling up the town and making new rooms that will accommodate them and stuff like that.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. And
What system do you have this for?
This is for PlayStation 4 and Vita. I have the PS4 version.
Okay.
It's a full $60 game, which is like a little pricey for I think a lot of people, but I was glad I got into it. The only thing, like the biggest criticism I would put on it is that the game is divided into 5 chapters, and what I really wasn't expecting was that
No pictures?
Yeah, it's this chapter book had no pictures. I'm like, you got to give me something else besides just like
Not even chapter art?
32
Come on.
point font. No, the game is divided into 5 chapters, and it's like a linear story. You're one character, and he or she starts in chapter 1 and then goes to 2 through 5. But each one is like its totally
Wait,
own
you're saying you start in chapter 1 and then 2 through
Get
5?
fucked, Keith. Oh my god, I knew you were gonna fucking go after this. I hate you. You know what? You wouldn't feel so fucking smug if you realized how predictable you are. Okay? I saw that coming a mile away, Keith.
We've been doing this for like 8 years, so maybe to you I'm not predictable. Okay, but go on. You're saying start at 1 and then continue through the other numbers
Anyways,
in order?
The 5 chapters are essentially their own completely self-contained campaigns. So what sucked was that like I spent many hours like lovingly crafting my town, and then at the end of chapter 1 my character went like, okay, everything's good here, time to move on, and then you just go to a completely new area and like start from scratch at a new town. And like that really kind of like brought everything. It was sort of like a record scratch moment where it was suddenly like, I don't know if I want to keep playing this, or that I did want to keep playing it, but I kind of lost that drive once it like sort of broke the continuity between my chapter 1 town and whatever was happening in chapter 2. So I think that's kind of a bummer, but I really
Did it give you a new town each chapter?
Yes.
What is there to the gameplay besides building, if anything?
It's basically the same verb set, if you will, as Minecraft. So it's like mine things and also fight things in like a very simple way.
Whacking.
Yeah. Though I will say the combat in this game, while not deep by any means, it does like really put the combat in Minecraft to shame at the very least, which is not really saying much because the combat in Minecraft is terrible. But anyways, yeah, that's my my Dragon Quest Builders. I think it was just really surprising. It was like kind of out of nowhere. It's like, oh, they made a Dragon Quest game that's like a ripoff of Minecraft, but like it's really fun. Like this, supposedly it was really successful in Japan, so I hope they're making a second one. Number 8 is Overwatch.
Nice.
I don't think we have much more to say about Overwatch, but I was just very impressed by just how immaculately designed that game was.
Yeah.
Next one. Oh, what's that? What?
Never mind.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
My next one, number 7, is Grow Up, the sequel to Grow Home. I heard a lot.
Wasn't expecting that one.
I heard a few people saying that this was a disappointing sequel, and like, I don't fucking know what those fucking yahoos are on about. You know what I'm saying?
Now, Kyle, I have 3 questions, and I'd like them answered in order.
Go ahead.
What is Grow Up and Grow Home? Why do people not like the second one? And why do you disagree?
Well, I would love to address each of these questions, but I'd like to do them out of order.
I did stipulate as part
okay
of
with
the.
you?
I did stipulate as part of the question that I did need them answered in order.
Okay, that is fair, and I admit that I did agree to that previously, so I will defer to your preferred method of answering the question.
Thank you for choosing to maintain your honor.
Grow Home was a game that was made by Reflections and Ubisoft Studio that I think was meant to be, it started as like just sort of a test of procedural animation, like the thing where you don't make a walking animation for a character. Instead, it's like you make all these dynamic systems that tell the character model how to keep itself standing if it starts moving forward, I guess, is the best way to explain that.
Talking like Spory.
Spory?
Spore-Y. Like, it's like Spore.
Kinda.
Spore does that because of how you can make a thing look like whatever.
Yeah, I
So
guess
it has
maybe
to figure how to make it
maybe it
stand.
is like that. It's hard to remember. It's been so long since anyone's looked at anything Spore.
I play Spore every day.
It was a pretty small game that you're a little adorable robot who like crash lands or something on an alien planet, and basically the only thing that's there is like this enormous sort of like beanstalk like plant, and you just kind of you climb up it. There's a lot of like dynamic climbing where you're like controlling each hand individually. It's like grab on with your right hand, now let go with your left hand and reach up, now grab with that one and let go with the right hand. It's like that kind of climbing thing.
It's
if
very
that makes
satisfying
sense.
to do in and of itself.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah.
You like hop onto different parts of this beanstalk, and like it'll start stalks will start growing out of it, and you can control those, and you steer them into these weird floating islands that are glowing, and that's somehow food for the beanstalk thing, and it grows taller. It's now that I'm into it, it's really hard to describe what Grow Home is.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And then there's just like a lot of random stuff, like a lot of different flowers and stuff that you can find in the environment that will like, you know, some are like giant leaves that when you jump on them, they bounce you up into the sky. Some of them are flowers that you can pick and hold on to and then deploy at strategic times to allow you to glide for a certain period of time.
Well, it's basically like a 3D platformer at heart, which I think you didn't mention, but like that's the core of it.
Yeah, it's a 3D
yeah.
platformer, and that's a genre that I definitely have a fondness for.
So why do you want to feed the plant? Why is
Because
the plant so
higher.
hungry?
you need
get
to
higher, bro.
You need to get back to your mothership or mom, which is up in the sky. So you're growing the plant so that you can climb back up to your mothership and leave.
Okay.
So I guess you're right. I was wrong. You're not crashing. And so I would be hard pressed to explain why people like this game so much, but it's really relaxing and simple, and you know, it's very low stakes. You're just a
It's
little
fun to
robot
climb.
climbing around and collecting crystals and stuff like that. And now Grow Up is, I think it's really the kind of sequel that I really appreciate, where it starts, and when at the beginning it feels very similar to the original, like maybe
Right.
even almost too similar in a way. Where
Tell
you're
us
just
how
like,
it expands on that, or
you're-
perhaps grows on that.
yeah, you're just
Could you
starting.
grow that, please?
You're growing another star plant, and you're climbing it up. The difference here being that like these flowers that you encounter in the environment, you can now like once you find one, you scan it, and then you can plant those wherever you go, and they stay there forever. So you can do all kinds of weird things with like growing like stacks of mushrooms that let you climb to weird places and shit like that. But then by the end of the game, it becomes almost something totally different because as you're collecting things and progressing through the game, you start unlocking abilities that let you like pop wings out of your head that will glide. And then eventually you unlock like a jet booster. So you essentially are able to like fly infinitely. And instead of being on one island, you're on this sort of small planetoid that has like 3 different star plants and also a bunch of other areas. It's like really diverse in a way that the first one was really singular. And I think maybe that's what rubs people the wrong way or something. Like they really like that the first game was just about this one plant that you're growing, and like Grow Up is about like 7 different, totally different places.
So
but I really
if I
like
can compare
that
it, it's sort of like how the only thing that you did in the first Crackdown game was climb the agency tower, and the second one had like this whole like city that you could explore.
that none of what you just said was true.
Yeah, the first Crackdown, all that there was this big tower that you had to climb, and the second one had like zombies.
Oh,
in
right.
a city, a whole city.
That is a perfect analogy, Keith. I think you've hit it right on the head. Only problem is that no one understands what you're saying because nobody played Crackdown 2.
The real joke was that in Crackdown, you don't have just a tower to climb.
Yes, exactly.
But that's the only thing that I did in it, so I just climbed that tower over and over again.
But just kind of like the agility orbs that you're collecting in Crackdown, it's sort of the same thing in Grow Home and Up, I think. You're collecting crystals, and the crystals are upgrading your
jump higher.
Your little robot. Yeah, you can do all kinds of things. And then Grow Up even goes further where there are different unlockable, I guess I'll call them costumes, but then each one of them has a different ability. So like as you're unlocking these costumes, it's like that is again even expanding your tool set even further. And it really felt like there were just so many things so many abilities that I had by the end of the game.
So you're saying that Grow Up and Grow Home is kind of like Crackdown, is what I'm hearing.
I mean, it's not.
You're saying it's a lot like
dissimilar.
Crackdown.
Yeah, you're fighting zombies. There's like a weird announcer that won't stop talking about how he can see his house from here.
The way you're describing it makes it seem
there is a wingsuit though. In Grow,
so it's just like Crackdown.
It's exactly the same as Crackdown.
I would love to play these now that you've described them.
And it is literally functionally identical to Crackdown in every conceivable way. And yeah, I just found myself like when I first started Grow Up, I was like, I don't know, or maybe part of it has to do with the fact that a lot of people loved Grow Home, the first one, and I played it and like I enjoyed it, but I didn't get that like, oh my God, this game's incredible feeling that I was kind of expecting because I felt like it was right up my alley. And so maybe because I wasn't overjoyed with the first one, I really liked the second one. I don't know.
Do you think that the hype for the first one ruined your...
Yeah, maybe. So when I started Grow Up, I was like a little lukewarm on it, but then by the end, I had finished everything in the game, but I still found myself wanting to just spend time aimlessly wandering the little planet, just looking for extra crystals to find for no reason, just because
sounds just like Crackdown.
I just enjoyed flying around the little world. Like kind of the same thing with Titanfall 2's multiplayer. Like there were just a number of days in a row where I sat down at the end of the day and went, oh, what do I want to play? And the answer just kept being Grow Up like several days in a row, like for hours at a time. So I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it is overall a more fulfilling experience than Grow Up, despite...
Or Grow Home, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to keep the title straight. I think it definitely is. I think Grow Up is like hugely underrated.
I did like the first one, so I'll have to check this one out.
Yeah, I think if you like the first one, you should check out the second one. It's a little
Should I
bit
just
different
hey,
things,
hey,
like
should I
different
just
in a really
I'm gonna
good
just-
way.
I might check
should
it out.
I? If I've already played the first Crackdown, should I just skip straight to Grow Up?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
No, for
yeah,
real
what's
though, like
Crackdown?
I think you totally can skip Grow Home and go straight to Grow Up, but I would say that it's one of those situations where it might be hard to go, like once you play Grow Up, it might be hard to go back and try Grow Home because it might feel like really small and limited compared to what the game is in Grow Up.
Can I go straight
Yeah.
to Crackdown 2, though?
No.
No, just don't ever go to Crackdown 2, probably.
You know, there's a lot of really great things about Crackdown 2, but just play the first Crackdown. Don't bother with the second one. Unless you're like dying to play a game with a sick wingsuit, just play Crackdown 1.
maybe I am though.
Maybe you are. Maybe you're trying to play a game with a sick wingsuit. And in that case, play Grow Up.
I keep wanting to go back and try Crackdown 2 again, but I'm really afraid that I'm going to go back, I'm going to play it, I'm going to really like it, I'm going to put 100 hours into Crackdown 2, and like the next month Crackdown 3 is going to come out, and I'm going to be like crackdowned out.
Okay, so they announced Crackdown 3, but basically everything that they announced with Crackdown 3 has been canceled. So maybe you should just play Crackdown 2.
Yeah. Slayer asks, why aren't there more Spore likes? I don't know. Probably because Spore cost $1 billion to make, took many years, and then it was like a big fucking wet fart of a game that no one liked.
Yeah, well, here's the
So
but
there's
the
a
but
bunch
the
of reasons, and you can pick one.
yeah, but the thing is that all that technology is a lot easier to do now because Spore already did it.
Yeah.
Spore figured out kind of how to do it.
Man, they're like,
But the,
you know
the
what?
part of Spore that people should be replicating is just the creature builder, not anything else.
Yeah. Man, I was so excited about Spore, and I actually had, even though it definitely didn't live up to my expectations, I had a good amount of fun playing Spore when it first came
Same,
out.
yeah.
And I've gone back to it since then and have been like baffled at how I ever enjoyed it. Like it's such like a dismal game.
I really liked the creature builder, and I liked the short little first single cell chapter, and I liked the next couple, and then
You should try it again though, because I bet you won't.
the tribal eras where it really started to break down.
Yeah. And like how each one was just like a blatant ripoff of another game. Like the first stage was just Flow, and the second stage was like World of Warcraft, and then the third one was an RTS, and then the fourth one was Civilization.
And then
And then
space.
the fifth one
and
was
also,
some space madness that I couldn't wrap my head around at all.
then at the it also felt like each subsequent, like after the first little thing, after the flow part, which was nothing, in like 10 minutes or less. After
Yeah.
that, each subsequent thing felt like less and less complete.
Yeah.
Like all of it felt incomplete, but
or rather
it
that,
just
like,
felt like
this-
the RTS
this-
was so pared down, and the civilization
Yeah.
was even more pared down, and the space thing was like nothing.
Well, I think the space thing was the one thing that people were like, yeah, if you like really get into it, like there's a lot to do there and it's really cool. But like I didn't want to bother really.
Yeah.
It was probably just that at each level, the scope of the game kept expanding, but like there wasn't more attention to detail to go along with that.
Yeah.
You know? So, anyways, why are we talking about Spore right now?
Because it's on all of our lists.
It's my retroactive
Why did
number
we
one.
all put Spore on our list this year, guys? I feel like that was an oversight.
What's your next game?
My next one's Titanfall 2.
Wait, stop,
Oh.
pause.
Hey, what?
Grow Up and Grow Home. You have those both on your Xbox, right?
I have Grow Up on my Xbox. I have Grow Home on my PS4.
Okay, I'm just going to play Grow Up then.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
I already played Crackdown 1.
Yeah, you
It's
got it.
You know what?
You
Grow
understand.
Up. Grow Up sounds like the sequel to Crackdown that Crackdown deserves.
I will say that, you know, you
That-
never just get to the point where you can just like, you know, do like a 50-foot jump from nowhere. That's
Okay.
That's really the
Yeah.
one flaw that Grow Up has.
Yeah,
The literal one flaw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2. I don't know if
Titanfall
there's anything
2.
left to say about this game, but
It's good.
It's just a good
It's
game,
really
guys.
fun. It's just you just running around on walls and jumping. It's fun.
Yeah, you know, I didn't have an Xbox One when Titanfall 1 came out. So I never got around to it. I could have played it on PC, but I decided
Kyle hates playing
not
games
to.
on his PC.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was one of those things where I was like, well, I'm gonna get an Xbox One, so I want to leave Titanfall as like a game I can get when I get it. But then I think I don't know.
It was dead.
Yeah, like that was the thing. Like when I first got my Xbox One, they had a deal going right when I bought it that you could pay $5 to get Titanfall 1 and all the DLC, and I did that and literally never played it because I was like, there's not going to be anybody playing this game. What's the point?
It's actually really sad. I don't think that they're going to do a Titanfall 3, but I hope that they make a...
Who knows? Did you see that fucking quote from Jason West?
No.
Is he the one? There was Jason West and Vince Zampella were the two guys that formed Respawn, but then one of them left and one of them's still there, and I never remember which is which.
If I had to guess, it's Vince Zampella still there because that's the one that I know.
Probably.
He is
You're
the
probably
CEO of Respawn.
right. There was some...
Apparently.
This is like second or third hand information, like super paraphrasing here, but there was something where it was like he kind of referred... He sort of alluded to there being some uncertainty about whether or not there was going to be a Titanfall 3. And then I think like some spokesperson from EA was like, EA has officially stated that they are committed to they are committed to the Titanfall brand for the long term. And then Zampella just goes like, yeah, so whatever that means.
Okay, yeah, so I have it here. Jason West is the former mayor of the village of New Paltz, New York. He previously served as the village's mayor from January 1st, 2003 to May 31st, 2007.
Yeah, I don't think that has to do with Titanfall 2, though.
No, there's clearly a different Jason West. Yeah, Call of Duty co-creator Jason West has left his new studio.
There you go.
So, as of 2013, though.
Zampella's the
So
one
that was
still
forever
there.
ago. Zampella's still
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that was before... I think it was before Titanfall 1 came out.
Oh, wow.
I think he
jumped
stated
ship.
like personal family reasons or something. Like I don't know that it wasn't like he left and went straight to another company. He was like,
Oh, okay.
hey, I need to like not be working for a bit.
Oh, okay. Well, good old Zampy's still there.
Yeah. Oh, Zamp Zamp the Scamp is what we call him. He's such a knucklehead. Mm-hmm. Next up, we got
Grampy Zampy to his grandchildren.
Next up, we've got a December 2015 game that snuck onto my list.
Ooh.
This is
Wow.
Pokemon Picross, the best Picross game,
Dude,
you
did
got
you
your
fucking
Picross
almost
on
have
here.
2 Picrosses on this?
right? I fucking like Picross a lot, bro. Picross is really good. So Pokemon Picross, let me tell you guys about it. Most Picross games are like full retail $40 handheld games made by Nintendo or published by Nintendo. This one is free to play, and it's free to play. There's a lot of microtransactions in there. Okay, so there's a lot of things where it's like you've got an energy.
Kyle, I like to call
meter.
those free to try.
I call them pay to win. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You can't just download credits that just let you beat a level. Pay to win.
I don't think that's actually true.
No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Not for this game.
Well,
Pay to win is like when-
I'll circle back to the free to play stuff, but the core of the game is that in Picross you are solving puzzles, and at the end of solving the puzzle, you end up with a picture that you have made. It's a picture cross puzzle, and in this one, all of the puzzles are like portrait images of different Pokemon. But the rub is that once you solve the puzzle, that essentially amounts to catching the Pokemon. So it adds it to your team that you can choose from, and you can choose up to like 5 or 6, probably 6, because that's the Pokemon number, to bring into battle with you when you do a puzzle. And like each Pokemon will have its own special ability that will give you like an edge in solving the puzzle, like something that freezes or slows time so that you get a better time on the puzzle. Some will like randomly reveal different parts of the puzzle in different patterns and stuff. It all has to do with what type of Pokemon it is. So it just adds this like really deep extra element of strategy to how you're playing Picross that's never existed before. And it's a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun playing it. A lot of people, if you actually go on like the eShop and look at its star rating, it has like 3 stars or something because everyone's bent out of shape because there's microtransactions in the game. So it's
but there's only one microtransaction. I mean, there's probably different levels, but isn't it just like play the first set because they give you free of their microtransaction credits, and then it's like if you want to play more, you just buy all the microtransaction credits you need in one go. It is
Picross is the fictional currency in the game, and as you progress through the world map in Pokemon Picross, it costs a certain amount of Picross to unlock each new area, and an area will have like maybe 10 puzzles in it. And then each puzzle has a number of special challenges, like a special conditions to meet in addition to solving the puzzle that will earn you like bonus Picross. Yeah. So what I like about it is there is that balance of like you want to try to complete as many special objectives as you can in order to pay less money. There's also an energy meter. Like every time you complete a puzzle, your energy meter decreases, and then you can spend Picross to refill it, and you can spend Picross to like permanently elongate it, and then eventually you can just you essentially spend enough Picross to turn that element off. But what I really like about this game is that it's essentially the same amount of content as a $40 full retail Picross game. But unlike most free-to-play games where they just like keep sucking money out of you forever, there's a cutoff point where like once you have paid about $40 worth, you've bought $40 worth of Picross, the game actually says, okay, you've given us enough money, everything's free forever now. You don't have to pay anymore.
Okay, that's what I was...
Yeah, I think that's a really cool, like consumer-friendly way to do free-to-play because like I think this game is absolutely worth $40. I would have happily paid $40 for it. So I think the fact that the amount of money you can spend on the game ranges from $0 to $40 for a $40 game is pretty cool.
Yeah, okay. So the free to play is essentially being like if you're good and enough and play enough Picross, you can have this game for less than what we would have charged you otherwise.
Probably.
That's the bargain, right? It's like because you can grind out points.
Yeah, or maybe you're not a crazy Picross head like I am.
Right.
Maybe you don't even want to play that much. I mean, I still have barely even like played half of the content in this game. And then on top of that, every puzzle that's in the game, you can then flip to Alt World, which is some kind of parallel dimension. I don't know if that's ever been addressed in Pokemon at all before, but there's Alt World.
Has it been addressed in Picross though?
I don't know. That's a very interesting question, John.
It's perhaps the most interesting.
In Alt World, you can redo all the puzzles, but they are in Mega Picross style or whatever, which changes the rules of how you solve the puzzle. So it essentially makes it a new puzzle. So there's like double the content there, bro. I actually found once I basically spent like $20 on Picross, like naturally, I guess you'd say. And then I went, fuck it. Let's just pay the extra $20 to like go all in on this and like turn off the free to play stuff completely. And I actually found that my interest level in playing the game dropped pretty dramatically once I did that, because I found that like like doing all I could to like stave off the next time I had to pay money for pick rights was actually part of the fun of the game that I kind of missed once I had eliminated that for myself.
That's weird because you like just doing Picross.
I sure do. I played this game a lot. I played this game so much that I caused myself neck pain from how many nights in a row I spent the whole night with like my neck like craned straight down at my lap because I was playing Picross.
You should alternate some Picross and Thumper, then you'll just be aching all over.
Oh yeah, that sounds horrible. Oh boy, guys. This next one on my list, I'm like, I don't even know if I have the energy to talk about it.
What is
Maybe
it?
I need some more Red Bull. Let's talk about this. My next one is Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma.
Oh my god. Here's the thing though, you can't spoil it for us. For me at least.
I sure won't.
Good.
Zero
So
Time
give us the
Dilemma.
best you can without spoiling.
Zero Time Dilemma is the third in the Zero Escape series. The first one being, I never get it right. It's 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 doors, or 999. And the second one is Virtue's Last Reward. And then the third one here, Zero Time Dilemma. I played all 3 of these for the first time in a row this summer. Just because Zero Time Dilemma came out, and so people were kind of talking about it. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll finally go try these games. And like, boy, did I enjoy those. Holy crap. They were basically like the only games I played for pretty much the entire summer.
So
like,
are
it took
these
up
like,
like all my time.
are they visual novel puzzle games? Is that what they are?
That's a good way to describe it. It is part room escape puzzle game and part visual novel, but it's really heavy on the visual novel aspect of it. Like, I would say if you go into the game expecting like, oh, this is a room escape puzzle like The Room, you're going to be like, what's all? I have to read so many words. What's happening? It's way better if you go in just kind of expecting like, okay, I'm going to start 999. This is just literally going to be a book that sometimes asks me to do puzzles. I think that's more what you should expect from these games.
Okay. Is there a classic choose your dialogue thing going on, or is it like a book?
From what I remember,
From what you remember,
yeah, no, there definitely is, at least for the first 2 games. The weird thing is, like, there's a character you're playing in the first game and the second game. In the third game, they kind of do that weird, like, it's always been an ensemble cast, but in this one, Zero Escape, there really is, like, no one character that is your character. You're just kind of, like, playing everybody.
okay.
Well, I guess it splits all the characters into 3 teams, and there is one new character in each team that kind of represents the player, if anything. Let's see here. What's great about God damn it.
What's up?
Can I ask a question first?
Yeah.
Okay, so my trepidation with how I've heard these games being talked about is that I'm very interested just by kind of virtue of what it is. But at the same time, the way I've heard it talked about is that it kind of seems like the appeal of it is just like these mind-bending like plot twists, kind of, and that's like, is that like the appeal to it? Because if the entire thing is just predicated on like these, like, oh my god, thought you wouldn't expect this crazy thing about to happen. This is like the crux of this game, then that doesn't interest me. But
Why?
if it does those,
because
I'm just not something that interests me story wise. I just like, look at this thing that you couldn't see coming. No, that's crazy. It's just not appealing to me.
Yeah, so I was trying to bring this idea up, but like there's something about these games that really read to me as like Metal Gear.
Okay.
Not in the way that like obviously like Metal Gear is like this sort of like military espionage thing wrapped in lunacy. And this, it's not. It's a totally different like subject matter, but it's that same idea where it's like the crazy plot twists aren't like the only thing going for it, but it's definitely a large part of the fun, I would say. If that makes sense.
I do like lunacy.
There you go. And that stuff definitely like dials up as you get further in the series. So like the first one feels pretty grounded, all things considered. By the way, the storyline of like each game is sort of almost like Saw. It's like a bunch of people are kidnapped by a strange person speaking into a voice modulator, and they have to do weird things to not die. But it's not like really as weird or gruesome as Saw is. Though what I enjoyed about this one, Zero Time Dilemma, is it goes a little bit more towards that like dark violent stuff. I think like by the end of the second one, the game, like the scenarios of the game had sort of lost their edge in a weird way, and this one kind of like dials it up a little bit more, so it feels more, I don't know, something. It feels more something.
I want to feel that something.
So let's
think I
move
wanna
on
feel
from
that
that
something.
idea because I have no idea how to finish it. But I think the really big improvement that this one makes over the previous two is that like the first one is a straight up visual novel. It's just like it's a bunch of text that you read and there's some character portraits. And then the second one, they add voice acting, but it's still in 3D models instead of 2D portraits, but it's still essentially the same thing. And this one finally gets to like full voice acting, but also like all of it is like a full real cutscene with like animations and camera angles and shit. So it's basically like you're watching a movie, whereas before it felt like reading a book or like listening to an audiobook or something. Mm-hmm. So it made it way more interesting to watch, even though there's the animation and stuff, it definitely gets pretty crude. Like it's not up to like modern cinematic video game standards, but considering that it was made for like a shoestring budget and there's like dozens of hours of cutscene in the game, it's fine.
How long
Does
would it
it
take me
also
to go
get
through each
rude?
of these games?
How long would it? I don't know. It's hard to remember.
There's a
How long
website
to-
for that.
How
I'm
long
already
to
on
beat
it.
.com is probably
9
your
hours?
source for that. But what I'll say is I'm pretty sure early this year
999 is listed as 9.5 hours for the main story, 22 hours for completionist. There's extras that doing the extras will take you 18.5 hours.
Okay.
So between 9 and 18 hours, essentially.
And yeah, now I'm remembering. Like I'm remembering all these things that I haven't talked about. The first game presents itself as like just this linear game with like branching options. But then when you get to the end, you'll probably get one of the many bad endings, and then you have to replay the game, but you can skip over any text that you've seen before, and you realize that the game is actually about like redoing the game over and over again, but picking different options and like using knowledge that you've gotten through one playthrough to help you in another one to finally get like the perfect ending. And then they just sort of like roll with that through the two sequels where it becomes more about like a crazy branching timeline and stuff like that. So this is
Zero
like
Escape says that it's 28 hours for the main story.
Oh my goodness.
Virtue's Last
Very
Reward.
long, yeah.
That one's definitely the longest of the three. This is the second one.
That's a long ass time to play.
It's-
Wait, which one's
it's
the
pretty
the
long.
most recent one?
What's Woa?
Zero
which
Time
one?
Dilemma.
Okay,
Zero Time Dilemma, yes. Yeah, it's weird. Like I should be talking about just the newest one, the one that's actually on my list. But since I played them all together at once, it's kind of hard to separate them
They're
in my
all
mind.
mushed. They're all mushed in.
Yeah, but I would say if I had played them instead this year, I believe early this year they're coming out with like a 999 / Virtue's Last Reward like remake combo pack thing where they're re-releasing them on Steam. And if I had played those this year, fucking all three of them would have been on my list.
Damn.
So,
All right, Kat, what else you got? that's
said,
good.
The zero time dilemma, I would say, is probably hard to put anywhere but like third place out of the three, but it was still a really great game, and I had a ton of fun doing the puzzles and just following that fucking crazy ass story. There were at least like 2 times where I was like on my couch with just like my hands outstretched in like a like what the fuck is happening kind of pose, like a what the fuck, and like Nicole would look over and be like, oh, what, did the game just screw you over or something? I was like, no, just like the craziest thing just happened. This isn't frustration at a bad game. This is just like a what am I even watching right now? Anyways.
Sounds like lunacy.
Oh, it sure is, guys. It's so good.
Which one's the best one?
It's hard to say. I think the first 2 each have different strengths. So I kind of have the most fondness for the first one, maybe, but ultimately, like, the second one is where it starts to get really weird with like crazy plot twists and stuff, and I always find that really fun. So it's hard to pick one. They're all really good. But yeah, the 999 definitely starts out pretty simple and low key. So when I tweeted about starting that game, there were a couple people that were like, "Oh man, strap in, motherfucker!" And I was just like, "People are saying, I don't really see why people are acting like this. It seems kind of normal, but I don't know. We'll see." And it got pretty crazy. Anywho,
I'll be the judge of that.
yeah, sure. Next one, number 3, Stardew Valley. That game's a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It's a good
That-
game.
That's just a well, maybe
That's
we should
just
make
a
this-
stand-up game.
That's just a thing. Let me rearrange this this list here so we can fit everything in one thing. Maybe we should probably change that giant picture to actual words. You know.
I know. Now, Kyle,
Man, what to say about Stardew Valley that hasn't already been said? Right?
did we talk about it last time?
I don't think so. I just mean like in general.
Okay.
For anyone who doesn't know, Stardew Valley is just like Harvest Moon, but like it doesn't suck. Like,
And if
That's
you,
a bit more than
well,
Harvest
hold
Moon.
on. I like
Hard to
Harvest
say.
Moon a lot.
okay, sure.
I've always
There-
I'm a big fan of the Harvest Moon franchise, and John, there's actually so many different Harvest Moons, and pretty much anything that you can find in Stardew Valley, you can find in a Harvest Moon game.
Yeah, it's pretty 1-to-1. I think this is secondhand information, definitely, but I think the whole game was made by one person, and I think he literally just said like, "Yeah, I really like Harvest Moon, but like the last 10 Harvest Moon games were crap." So I was like, "I bet I could make a better one of those," and then he did, and it's like it's better
he
than
was
any
right.
of the Harvest Moon games.
It's probably the best Harvest Moon game.
I would almost go as far as to say definitely.
There's a lot of Harvest Moon games.
Hey man, I'm. No one's gonna go to bat for Return to Papalocroy, the story of seasons fairy tale.
Anyway, so
Nicole played the first Story of Seasons like right after Stardew Valley. She was just like riding high on that like farm simulator trip and was just like, well, I need to play a new one, and she was like super super disappointed by Story of Seasons in comparison.
yeah, so the thing about Stardew Valley that I think improves the most on Harvest Moon games is that a lot of the Harvest Moon games are missing a lot of just very basic sort of ease of use features, and I'm hard pressed to list those, but because I haven't played a Harvest Moon game in a long time. But when I was playing Stardew Valley, it just was like a lot less of a frustrating thing to do than playing a Harvest Moon game. But yeah, it's just a farm sim. You can
Yeah,
there's a
it's-
lot of different things you can do.
yeah,
You can go. You can
you're-
fight in a dungeon. You can do some fishing. I love to fish. There's different seeds that you can buy depending on the seasons, and you've got to like work out like, okay, well, how many days do I have left in the season? How like what is my best like? How much space do I have available versus how much yield can I get from these things in how much time? It's a chill. It's just a fucking like
It's a
chill
chill-ass
out
game.
It's
Yeah.
chill.
It's just
it's
chill.
and it's just one of those. It is the definition of like the one more day game, like one more in-game day, because it's like
One day more.
it just feels like you always have 100 things to do, and you can only do 3 things in one day. So you just keep like next day, next day, next day. And I think I like the Harvest Moon games that I have played quite a bit, but they're like the older ones that are well regarded, not the newer ones. But I definitely tend to like play one full year of a Harvest Moon game and then go like, oh, it's just going to be the same thing over again. Like it's spring, and I guess maybe Stardew Valley probably has the same kind of things, but like the timeline is like way stretched out. So like one season in Stardew Valley is like an entire year in the Harvest Moon games I've played. But like, you know, I played through spring and summer and fall, and like slowly like getting new upgrades like sprinklers. Like first, like it got to a point where I had so many crops that my entire days were almost just filled with walking around and watering all my plants because there were so many.
Oh man, that's so many. That's crazy. I haven't
then-
done anything like that.
But then but that was right before I got to the point where I started making enough money to buy sprinklers. And so then I could set up my sprinkler system so it would kind of take care of itself. And like right when I was really
But the
getting
sprinklers
tired,
are so expensive, and they only can do like fucking 4 things.
I know, but like, you know, once you buy those sprinklers, you got them. That's a sprinklers for life, not just for Christmas, Keith.
Can I
Remember
tell
that.
you? Can I tell you what you're missing out on? Fruit trees, motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Fruit trees. You
Sure,
don't have to
that's-
water them, and they produce fruit that is expensive
Yeah,
to
I
sell.
know.
That you can make jam with. Jam's
But it's
also really
Keith,
expensive.
that's a
to sell.
long-term investment. They don't even bear fruit for like an entire year practically, right?
Yeah,
wrong here?
basically. No. You're right. But I have like a fucking whole orchard set up. So I have fruit coming out every season, motherfucker.
Yeah, and I think this gets to, you know, a great thing about Stardew Valley is just it's a huge game, but there are so many different things you can focus on that, like, as soon as I got to like fall in my first year, where I like started to really get tired of like the gameplay loop of like planting crops and all this stuff, it was right when I got to the point where I had enough money to start investing in like animals. Farm animals, and then obviously like winter you can't really grow anything anyways, so you have to focus on animals. And
Yeah.
so like suddenly the game completely changed, and my day was not about watering and planting crops, but instead it was about like feeding the chickens and letting them out, and like going to fish and like
And foraging for
Foraging.
like for fruit to sell, and
Yeah.
but also to like complete those fucking item lists in the rec center.
yeah, the rec center is like, I feel like the real main thing that like
Yeah.
propelled my playing of Stardew Valley, which is
And it took me almost a full year to even start it.
oh really.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because I sat next to Nicole while she played that game for like 80 hours before I even started. So like I knew going into it that I should check out the rec center.
Yeah, I
but it-
knew, but I kind of just forgot, and I did a couple things like right off the bat, and then I was just like, oh well, I'm gonna do. I have to amass my fortune so that I can spend it all on trees to build a grove.
Yeah. So what the rec center is, it's basically to boil it down to the most basic idea. It's just kind of like a list of different things that you need to acquire at different times of the year. So it'll be like, here's your like summer crops list, and it'll be like 4 different things you can only grow in summer that you want to donate to the rec center to like get some new upgrade or some bonus prize for doing that. So it was cool because it was like each new season it was like, okay, here's the 4 crops I have to get, here's the 4 fish I need to get, but like are they, you know, these specific fish, can I get them fishing into the ocean, or do I need to go to a river? Does it have to be in a lake but when it's raining, or is it a river in the morning? Like there's all these different like attributes to like when the fish actually appear. and it's the whole thing, and it was just super engaging. I think I
Holy-
haven't even technically finished my first year, but I played that game for like 80 hours. It was crazy. I love that
Holy
game.
shit! Can I tell
That's a
you
lot
that
of- that's a lot of
I just
Stardew.
logged into Steam to see how long I played Stardew Valley for, being like, what did I play? Probably like 40 or 50 hours of that. 125 hours.
I'll go check mine right now. People can even see it. Oh, here's No Man's Sky. Played 5 hours of No Man's Sky. You get the fuck out of my face.
You only played
No man
5
played No Man's
hours of
Sky.
that? You were giving
You know
me
what?
shit, and you only played 5 hours.
You know what?
That's a good amount of time to play No Man's Sky.
I'm gonna say this.
That is
the
not
Steam,
a
the
good amount of
Steam
time to play that.
No, listen. The Steam time
Excuse
tracking
me.
is not 100% accurate, and that actually sounds really low to me. I think it was more than 5 hours.
I only have 6 hours in Stardew Valley.
Oh, the best thing about
sorry.
Stardew Valley was I didn't even have to pay for it because I just got it off of Keith's Steam share. Stardew Valley, 93 hours. Bang, bang.
Man,
I wish you could organize them by time played.
Amateur.
Although
Can
I've
you not?
You can.
I don't think you can. Oh, you can.
Yeah, you can.
It doesn't really work for me because I have you lose that time when you uninstall Steam. A lot of that isn't cloud saved, like the time tracking.
Are you? Really? That
yeah.
doesn't
I don't
sound
think that's
right.
true because I am looking at games that I only have on my PC partition. And I
Yeah.
have on my Mac partition right now. So that's.
Or I
sounds
think it works
impossible.
for some games. Like, for instance, I'm looking at KOTOR 1 right now. It says I've played 12 hours of it, and I know for a fact that on this Steam account, I have beaten that game 3 times. So, KOTOR 2 says 68 hours. That's probably close to true.
But just for that Steam version.
Just for the Steam version, right, yeah.
Keith, can I tell you what
Tell me.
arrived today in a package?
What? What?
The Empire Strikes Back for the Atari 2600.
Nice. Very nice.
Keith is trying and mostly succeeding at trying to rope
Yes.
me into a big giant Star Wars Let's Play extravaganza that will suck up the rest of the years of my life.
Yeah. Because that my intent is to be able to do a wide scope Let's Play like we do, but without a 3 or 4 year commitment. That's my goal.
That would be my goal also, but I think we just have differing ideas about how to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
But
This
anywho,
is Star Wars. This is my time, motherfucker.
Oh shit, this is our time.
No, it's just mine. Just my time.
Playing
This time's just my time.
Playing every single game to star Mario in any way conceivable may have been the Let's Play of your lifetime, but I don't want your life.
Kyle is coding something,
That's
and
harsh.
I don't know
That's
what.
pretty harsh.
I believe that is Varsity Blues. Pretty famous exchange. So,
Never saw it.
anyways.
I don't
Me
think
I
it's
got
that
number
famous.
two.
I just know.
I don't think it's that famous.
I just know the
Give me your
lines
N2.
because everyone knows those.
I don't know them.
All right, I'm sorry. It's a boy. It's a young man yelling at his father, and he's saying like, playing for such and such college may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life. Anyways, my number 2 game is
Wait, can I guess what it is? I think I know what your top 2
You
is.
may.
Your number 2 game of the year is Doom.
It is.
Yep.
Oh, John, you know me so well. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, guys. It's almost, as I'm getting to the top of this list, it's like I like these games so much. I have so much I want to say about them. It just sounds like so much effort, and I don't have the energy. Like, can't someone?
Kyle, is your Red Bull not working?
Maybe I need. I did finish
Well,
the Red Bull.
We already talked about
No, we
Doom
didn't.
some.
Doom.
Yeah, we did.
No, we
We did
didn't.
talk about Doom. It was on my list.
Yeah, but like a number of the games on your list we skipped over because we were like,
This is
that's going to
true.
be on my list, so we'll just talk about that later. And I think that was one of them. I think
That's
it was.
not how I remember it. Because I remember John being like that some of the levels are a little drab and repetitive.
Yeah, I think maybe that was the only thing we said about it, though. In
Okay.
anticipation that Kyle would have more to say about it.
I don't agree
All right,
with
Kyle.
that shit. I
Give
think
me
that,
your Doom
shove that
rundown.
up your ass.
Hey,
Man, guys,
Go.
this game is like so good though.
how good and why?
Listen, guys, is so good. It's like number 2 game of the year good is how good it is probably.
That's pretty good.
I fucking love this game. It's like best shooter campaign in I don't know how many years. And what I love about it is that this campaign does the impossible. Like it actually manages to be something that like evokes the like a spirit of the original Doom game, like everything that was great about that, but like simultaneously melding it with modern game design so that it doesn't, it whatever. It feels like a good modern game that isn't held back by any like old ideas, but still manages to be totally unlike most modern shooters. Like
That sounds That's a good Kyle. You're doing good.
oh, I know.
That's
I
good.
just-
Keep
I
going
just-
with it.
I
So
ran
you're
out of
saying
steam
I
right
just
at the
want
end
to
there, guys.
I want to sum up, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You're
you
saying
go right ahead.
You're saying that it strongly evokes the original game while being new and fresh, but new and fresh in other ways than other shooters today are new and fresh.
It's not like you look at it and go like, oh, okay, sure, they took some ideas from the original Doom and then they slapped like the same modern bullshit on it that is in every shooter, so it's kind of like this weird blend of like old Doom and like modern shooter that we've played a million times. Like it feels modern because it has all these like every weapon that you have can be like upgraded in like 6 different ways. Like each one has a branching evolution that you can choose between, and you complete gameplay objectives and stuff to earn upgrade points to spend on your weapons to upgrade them in different paths to make them like more damage or like faster. I was gonna say faster reload, but actually this game doesn't have reloading. It's so advanced. It has advanced past reloading. No, that's a throwback to the original Doom. That game didn't have reloading, and at first it felt really weird to never reload in this game, but it just kind of it feels right. It doesn't feel like a game where you should be stopping to reload your fucking gun. I don't know.
That's interesting to me because a huge part of first-person shooters, for my money, is being
Yeah.
able to, is tactically reloading at the right time so that
Yeah.
you're not putting yourself in danger.
Yeah.
And so that's a big part of like the skill set for me.
Right, and
I think in place of that, you're acquiring ammo strategically rather than reloading it. I think it's kind of the parallel in this game.
yes, that is a good.
So you're
point.
saying not wasting bullets.
Well, I mean, it's different ways with dealing with the idea that you need to have enough ammo at all times, but instead of reloading, you're just acquiring it through another separate mechanic,
yeah,
which is the chainsaw.
Yeah, the loop of it is like you get health items when you perform like the melee finishers on enemies. So like if you're low on health, you have to spend a bunch of ammo to kill a bunch of guys and do the melee kill on them so that you'll get the health packs. But then if you run out of ammo, you have your chainsaw that runs on like charges. Like the most you can have is like 3 charges on your chainsaw. Chainsaw is an instant kill on an
Kyle,
enemy.
I don't want to hear math right now. I don't have time for
the chainsaw is an instant kill on an enemy, and then that enemy will just drop like an embarrassing like treasure trove of ammunition that will practically refill like every weapon that you have. So it's that.
How
It's
do you
like
get charges back?
it's fuel, so you'll like find gas cans in the level that you pick up.
Okay.
Sometimes enemies will drop them. And what I love about this game is it brings back that exploration that was in Doom. Like Doom wasn't just about like, shoot everything in front of you. It's like every level was
It was
like this
also
big
like find a key.
it was a big elaborate map where you had to find keys and shit like that. And yeah, in the original, it did definitely get bogged down. You could get stuck. You can't find the door. You can't find the key because it just wasn't, game design wasn't that polished at the time. There are a lot of similar games with similar mechanics with similar problems back then. And this one, it brings that back. Every level has a big elaborate map. You're finding keys, you're unlocking doors, but it's just not, it's not obtuse and obnoxious in the way that it could sometimes be in the original Doom games.
Yeah, that's what I find Doom only sometimes obnoxious.
I find the original Doom to only be sometimes obnoxious, you bastard.
What? That's what I said. That's what I said.
I could tell the way you were
No,
saying it. You
no.
were doing one of those clever English language things where you say one thing but you actually mean the opposite. And I, my
Kyle,
friend, am skilled enough in said language to recognize those times.
I think it's not my fault that you refuse to take me at my word.
Yeah, I absolutely will not take you at your word. That
I'm
sounds
just
like a
saying
horrible
that
idea.
I think Doom is a great game and that it's only sometimes obnoxious and obtuse and not fun. Only
You're
sometimes.
right. You know what? I'm taking you at your word, and I agree with you.
Good. Now that we're both being honest.
All
right, what-
yeah, so it's great. Fucking it's so
I like
crazy.
this new Doom, by the way. I haven't played a ton of it, but I played some of it, and it seems really fun.
It's super fun. It's just like you are constantly moving at like 100 miles an hour. Just like the game is just ridiculous breakneck action the way shooters kind of used to be, but, you know, better than they used to be. I think it kind of like, it puts into stark relief to me the fact that the way shooters are now, like the Call of Duty and Halo style of shooter, is like, it shouldn't be viewed as like the ultimate like evolution of what a shooter should be. It's just kind of like one branch of it. Like, I think for
Although
a while,
this is way more Halo-y than
well,
maybe
sure,
anything else I've
like,
played.
because you're jumping real high and you have like crazy space weapons and shit like that.
Yeah,
so
and
that's true.
yeah.
But it's sort of like, for a while, every shooter was like, you had 10 guns with you at all times. And then Halo was like, what if just 2 guns? And that was a really cool way to add an element of strategy while simultaneously like not bogging the game down in like
Now hold on,
tons of different ammo and guns at all times.
Didn't GoldenEye only give you 2 guns?
No, GoldenEye was the same thing. You had like 100 guns in GoldenEye.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But then it was like,
you're right.
then every game after Halo was that thing of only having 2 guns. And I feel like Doom is a strong case for like, hey, you can do the crazy like 10 guns at a time thing. It's just, you know, you need the right game for it.
Yeah, for a long time, I'll say this. I think that you're mostly right.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I'm nitpicking. Allow me to nitpick. I think that the hey, you have a ton of guns thing still existed in like third-person shooters for whatever reason. They were much more likely to give you just like 4 or 6 guns.
Ratchet and Clank, at least the new
Disagree.
remake.
All right.
Ratchet and Clank is definitely one, but that is such a different kind of game than a first-person shooter.
Yeah, it's a
Shooter's a
third-person
shooter,
shooter. That's what I was
It is a
saying.
third-
No, it's more like I would more classify it as like a third-person action adventure that has shooting in it, that features guns, but it's not a shooter in the same way as like Gears of War or Half-Life are shooters.
Okay.
You know, like the thing you're controlling in Ratchet and Clank is the Ratchet character. You're not like controlling a crosshair on the screen in the same way that you are in those other more shootery shooters.
Okay. Well, people can agree or disagree with me and with you.
They sure can. And the last thing I love about that campaign is there's not much of a story, but what's there is just like very silly and hilarious in like a totally knowing way. Where it's like, you in Doom, you've always just been Doom guy. You've been like nameless guy who doesn't really have any explanation for being there. And in this one, they kind of almost paint you as like a mythological figure of destruction, like to the point where you go to hell and find like weird demonic Bible verses that are like warning other demons about the Doom Slayer. And like you start the game by being awoken from a sarcophagus, and you find your power armor like surrounded with like candles and like sigils painted in blood and shit. It's very silly. Also, Optimus Prime is in the game, and he's like
The robot or the voice of the robot, or both.
Both of them actually. Is a weird move to license a Transformer for a Doom game. But
I love
they did it, and it
crossovers.
works. You know what? I cocked my eyebrow when I first heard about it, but it totally works.
The next Doom's gonna have Pokemon.
Back to the weapon selection kind of thing for a sec. Is that I don't think I've
What
played
do you
a
want,
shooter-
John?
I don't think I've played. I don't think I've played a shooter that presents you, this array of weapons that makes them all like equally desirable to use. At least,
Yeah.
like when I play games like this, I usually kind of just stick to one or two, mostly because that's really all the game makes it necessary for you. But like this game presents so many different situations where really your entire array of weaponry would be useful in a given situation, which I think is very intelligently kind of maneuvered on their part.
Yeah, definitely. And there are a lot of situations where you would be using one gun and then run out of ammo, but then you had just a number of other totally viable weapons to switch to, and so it really felt like it was you're constantly switching weapons like all the time while you're playing that game. Especially as like different combat scenarios like play to the strengths of your different weapons and stuff like that.
I'll end up playing that. Now that I have Kyle's thing signed in on my Xbox, I have access to a lot more games. Because Kyle has always had more games than I have.
Yeah.
But also because I generally play very little on my Xbox and a lot more on my PC, so I
Sure.
just don't have a lot of games on my Xbox. So I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Good. I am glad that you're excited. It's really cool. The other parts of that game that we haven't talked about are the multiplayer and the snap map thing.
I haven't touched either of them.
Multiplayer is really not worth talking about. It's kind of like your standard multiplayer stuff, but because of like the ways in which this game play differently than other shooters, like you've got a lot more health, the weapons are different, whatever. It's like it's a kind of different experience. It doesn't feel exactly like playing Halo or Call of Duty online, but it's not anything like the campaign is so fantastic that there's just almost no reason to like waste your time playing the multiplayer. Which is unfortunate because they planned, like before the game came out, they stated like, here's our season pass, and the season pass is going to get you 3 multiplayer content packs. So like once it came out and everyone's like, multiplayer sucks, but the single player campaign's great. Like they couldn't course correct, and so they've just slowly been putting out multiplayer content packs that nobody wants.
That sucks.
It does suck. Snap Map is a different thing that was it was an interesting idea. It's like this user-generated like level editor thing that is pretty powerful. I mean, it's definitely way ahead of like Forge in Halo and stuff like that.
It's ahead of Forge and Halo?
It's way ahead of Forge.
Oh, wow.
I think. I mean, the environments, or I guess in Forge, you're always starting with like a pre-made level, and then you're editing the items within it. Whereas this is
actually my least favorite thing about Forge is like when you want to make a map, you just have to go through and delete everything.
Yeah.
Spend an hour deleting literally everything, and then you can save that as like, here's my empty map. It was always very weird to me that you couldn't just select a thing that was like, okay, delete everything in here all at once.
That is weird.
Very weird. Yeah. Super weird.
Yeah, so Snap Map is like you're snapping together like chunks of levels. So it's a lot of like prefab rooms that you're connecting with hallways and stuff like that. And like I said, there's a ton of stuff that you can customize. you can make, I think, competitive multiplayer maps. Although Snap Map only supports up to 4 people, but I think it's mainly for like co-op scenarios. So you're like placing monsters that the other characters are, working together to fight. But I think just what really kills it for me is the same thing that killed Spartan Ops for me in Halo 4, which is that there's no fail state. It's just like when you die, you wait a few seconds and respawn, and then you just run back to the action and continue making your way through the level, and then eventually you win. And I think that just like totally kills any interest I would have had in that mode, which is a shame because there's like tons of depth there for people that are really willing to like go nuts and make really cool levels and stuff.
Yeah.
So that is Doom. I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say, but I just can't remember it. But like, man, I was just so it was just so surprising and so thrilling. Like, I think I was the one person who saw like the gameplay demo at the previous E3 and was like, that looks like it could be cool. And I was really glad that it turned out to be cool. I think Doom 3 is stinky poop from a disgusting butt. And I'm really glad that
So you like it?
I'm really glad that this Doom is nothing like Doom 3 whatsoever. It's just so good. Oh,
Some
here's
people like
what I
Doom
wanted to
3,
say. I
right?
played this campaign almost 3 times in a row. I played it on normal, then immediately restarted on hard, and then immediately restarted on expert, and got like halfway through the game on expert. I like this game a lot.
Sounds like it.
And that brings me to my number 1.
I actually have
Keith-
no idea what this could be. Probably
Keith-
because yeah.
I know what it is.
I'm sorry. Could I just say real quick before
Yeah.
we get to my number 1? Do you mind if
Yeah.
I take a quick break to go number 1?
I need to do the same thing, so that'll be perfect.
I'll allow it.
Oh, thank you, Keith.
All right, Keith, time for you to monologue.
All right, be right back.
Monologue. Mono. 1 log. Wood. Monologue. 1 wood. From the Latin 1 wood. Is everyone gone? I'm just going to play a game. I don't play Stardew Valley. I'll just play Stardew Valley while they're gone. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to talk because I'm going to be playing Stardew Valley. You won't even be able to see it. It's winter, so I don't have shit to do. I don't have jack shit to do.
All right, I'm back.
Where did you go?
I went to utilize the restroom.
Did you wash your hands?
Yeah.
Just seemed really fast, John. Did you brush your teeth?
Listen, did I brush my teeth?
Yeah.
Let me think about it. No, I didn't.
You should brush your teeth.
I do brush my teeth, but I didn't just now.
I'm hearing that you've never brushed your teeth. And I think that's gross.
I mean, I don't think it's really your place to judge other people's lifestyles like that.
That's a good point. I'm playing Stardew Valley now. Because everybody
Literally
walked away.
right now?
Yeah. Everybody left. It's just me sitting here. What am I going to do? Just sit here? No. I'm not a fucking chump. I'm not some sort of sucker. Ooh, Clint wants me to give Emily an amethyst, and he wants me to tell her that it's from him. So he wants me to go out, find an amethyst, and then give it to his crush and say, Clint did all of this. Fuck you, Clint. I'm not doing that. Maybe I'll give her an amethyst to tell her it's from me, and
Yo,
you're like,
give
hey,
her a
I found you
fish.
this.
Give everyone a fish.
No, people don't usually like fishes. I do, but it's not a game about what I like. Kyle, are you back?
This is a long number 1 for Kyle.
Well, he obviously washed his hands, and you didn't.
Listen, bro. When you live alone, you kind of forgo certain niceties of life. And sometimes that includes not only washing your hands, but also
Wiping your butt,
wiping your butt, brushing your teeth,
cooking food.
eating out of clean plates. What else?
Wow, you're being
cleaning up
nasty.
What else?
You're a nasty boy.
I have an infestation of ants that I haven't dealt with.
Is that true?
I'm just kidding. No, I've been using ant traps that have been working pretty well and keep them.
Oh, so you did have an infestation of ants.
Yeah, and I dealt with it. But
That's
they keep
good.
coming back.
Well, it's getting cold out. Ants like to move in the winter. That's their thing. Do you just have crumbs
true.
everywhere? Or do you think that's your problem? Just having.
No, I don't. That's the thing. I don't know.
Sounds to me like you don't know.
Guys, you weren't talking about the Switch while I was gone, were you?
No.
No, we were talking about my
Ant
personal
infestation.
habits.
Okay, Slayer is asking
And
about the Switch, and I was like, oh boy, don't get him started.
No. I was playing Stardew Valley, which I haven't played in like
Nice.
6 months. So
Oh, it's been so long. I like so many of the games on my top 10 list are games that I keep telling myself I need to go and play more of, and then just I keep not. They keep
Well, I
you know what
saw
the
that
thing
I-
is? You know what
What?
the thing is, Keith? They
What?
keep making
What?
more games.
they keep pumping
And
them
the-
out,
and
and
the
as
old
many times
ones?
as I go, hey, stop it, and they're just like, no, we're just gonna keep on plugging along.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep putting them out, and that's to say nothing of the old games that don't disappear. They just stay there, and you
They
can
just
play
stay
them
there.
at any time.
There's almost no recourse.
Yeah. Can I tell you though, like as much as I don't
don't tell
ever
me.
want to be like the old guy who just like throws up his hands and goes, everything new is garbage. I only like stuff from 30 years ago. Part
Yeah.
of me feels like if I ever become that guy, it'll be so nice to just have as much time as I want to like go back and play like every game that I've been meaning to play and have not gotten around
Yeah.
to.
You know what we need? There's a very simple solution. We don't need to say, hey, let's just stop playing all new games and only just focus on the games that already exist because we're old.
Okay.
What we need instead,
Ooh. Is it
Is to-
download our
what?
consciousness into computers so that we can live forever and play all games in those computers?
no, I was going to say we just need to make enough money doing this that the only thing that we have to do is run button. And then we don't have to spend fucking 40 hours a week at a
Keith.
dumbass fucking job. Like a square.
Keith, can I tell you?
What?
I just pre-came.
Oh boy.
I didn't, not all the way, but I'm definitely primed and ready.
Right. Yep. And you should be. Wouldn't that
So-
be nice
So what's
though?
your number one game
Is
of
it-
the year?
Hold on,
Guys,
I just want to emphasize that. Kyle, how great would it be to have to fucking waste 40 hours a week doing not this?
Oh my God, it would be so great. It
You
would
could
be
use
so
that 40
amazing.
hours. You could use that 40 hours actually like doing the job that
Yeah.
is important to us, like
Can
playing
you
the games and
imagine
talking
getting
about them.
through? Can you imagine getting through 20 to 40 hours of a game per week of Run Button? We could have
That's-
played Shenmue in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's
people
nuts.
I heard people have like criticized how fast Giant Bomb was able to get through Shenmue compared to us, and I'm like, yeah, that's their fucking whole job, dude.
It's their whole job.
It's their whole job, and they
Like, and-
are in the same building with each
for-
other every day.
Yeah, for Shenmue, it was Dan Reichert who wanted to do it, and they knew that he was going to be moving to New York to become part of Giant Bomb East. So they were on a time clock. So they literally just sat down and spent all day, every day for an entire week playing Shenmue, and then finished it with
Yeah.
having prior knowledge of how to beat Shenmue.
Yeah,
So, anyways, you want to talk about the best game of 2016?
yeah, Shenmue.
Do I?
No. Oh, damn it, Keith! Can I tell you?
Yeah, tell me.
There was a
What
time
about me? You're not gonna tell me?
Yeah, don't
no,
help John. John, take your
John,
earphones
cover your
out.
ears.
Cover your ears.
They're covered.
Though it is actually kind of appropriate because this would have really only been for me and Keith, but I thought about like surprising you with like a surprise game of the year category of like run button game of the year of like, here's a list of the games we played for run button this year. Which one do we think like we had the most fun with or like made the best videos?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
It probably would have been Shenmue, but I forgot about that idea and then we didn't do it.
For me, I would have had to put Arctic Alive on there.
Oh boy, I'm not even a part of that, so yeah, I couldn't tell you. I wasn't invited. I don't know what happened. It must have gotten lost in the mail.
Kyle, we have enough things to do without having to do an extra weird stream that I didn't know was going to be as good as it was.
I just would have appreciated an invite, Keith.
All right,
piece of shit.
I'm sorry. I mean, look, have fun with Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, I'm having so much fun with Kingdom Hearts. You don't even know.
I mean, I was saying, I didn't get invited to Kingdom Hearts.
Oh shit.
So,
I guess that's true.
Yeah. You get what you give, Kyle.
Oh boy. Did I really not ever be like, "Hey, we're doing Kingdom Hearts, you around?"
No.
Like that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Serves you right, you suck.
It's fine.
Anyways, here is I'm gonna lay it right on you, Keith. The best game of 2016 right here.
Hit me with it.
Fucking The Witness.
The Witness. Oh,
The Witness.
Yeah, John.
The Witness.
John already knew.
I know.
Anyway, I actually, Keith, I was surprised you didn't notice that the password for the stream right now is Witness GOTY.
Well,
I hit it in the password of the stream.
Well, I'm logged in as Run Button, so I don't have to enter in the password.
Yeah. I thought maybe you would have seen it on like the Game Wisp or whatever. So goddamn, man, The Witness is a phenomenal game. It's like John Blow. It's like John Blow snuck into my house while I was sleeping. He scanned my brain to see like exactly the kind of game that I wanted, and then he just went and spent 7 years making it.
Wow, 7 years, huh?
Yeah,
That's what goes on in your mind?
yeah, mostly. I'm mostly
Yeah,
like
Kyle's constantly thinking of ways to criticize people for not being purely logical. That's the only thing I know about that game.
I don't think that's like an appropriate way to
I wouldn't say that's the
summarize.
entirety of how to represent what that game is
I
putting
don't
forth.
know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Also, all the philosophical stuff about that game is like super in the background, and even though I kind of disagree with it and really don't like it, especially just because like on its surface as I was playing through it and experiencing it, I like didn't even really understand the point of view that the game was trying to express. And so even in that sense, like agree or disagree, it was kind of a failure because as a player, I didn't understand what it was getting at. But that stuff is such a small part of it. It's so easy to not even intentionally ignore. It's possible to even just accidentally just never even really come across any of it. I think it took me like 10 hours before I even found the first audio log.
I have almost no even concept of what that game is like as a puzzler.
So, what the game is, it is a first-person puzzle game, kind of exploration / puzzle game. You know, even Jonathan Blow has said that, you know, he was sort of inspired by Myst, though the difference here is that Myst is all about a series of puzzles that are sort of like built into the environment. So it's, you know, you're working levers and like combination locks and stuff. But in The Witness, it's really specifically that the environment is scattered with these like computer monitors that have little like line maze puzzles on them where there's just like, there's a beginning and there's an end that you have to get to, and you just have to like navigate the line through that maze to finish the puzzle panel. And like 5 years ago, he kind of unveiled the game a little bit and was sort of like, yeah, this is what this game is. You go through this beautiful environment and there's just like computer monitors and you draw lines on them. And that's like the whole game. And I was like, boy, are you spending 7 years making a puzzle game that's just about drawing lines on computer screens? Because that doesn't sound like anything to me. And what's kind of amazing about the game is that in essence, that it is totally true that like pretty much all the puzzles of the game are just line mazes on computer screens that are in the environment, but just it's so incredible that how he takes such a simple, seemingly one-note concept and like introduces new ideas and elements to it, that it is constantly doing new things and surprising you and delighting you with like the way it starts to like work in the outside environment into those puzzles. It starts introducing like new symbols that you have to intuit what the symbols mean for the puzzle and how to solve it based on like just experimentation. Like there's never a point where the game is like, this is how this thing works. Instead, you'll find like when you go to a new area that introduces a new puzzle element, it'll just have a series of super easy puzzles where like the first one you almost can't even get wrong. And so what you have to do is like almost accidentally solve a couple puzzles with this new symbol and then try to like look back and reverse engineer like what you did to figure out like what that new symbol means. Like, okay, so I did this and it was wrong, but I did this and it was right. So I think the symbol means this thing. So it's like the game becomes all about like learning, you know, you're just like, you're always like, you're discovering new things, you're learning new things. And then you're sort of like taking those new elements that are being introduced to you and you're internalizing them and how they work, so that later in the game when it starts mixing all the elements together and doing these really complex puzzles that are really difficult, it feels, it's Keith, to quote a former member of this podcast, is buttery smooth.
Buttery smooth? Oh, I was waiting for that to.
How are the controls? Are the controls buttery smooth?
Oh, they're buttery smooth.
Tell me about the combat.
The combat's lacking, actually. There's so much. The lack of combat is almost total. There's really no combat in the game.
But if there was,
it'd be buttery smooth. Like, you know it would. You know what I'm saying?
Buttery smooth.
Yeah, so John and I did a spoiler cast for The Witness with Waypoint's own editor-in-chief, Austin _Walker. And
Kyle was drinking tea and eating biscuits when he said that.
Absolutely. We spent it was weird with The Witness. I think it's such an incredible like masterpiece of game design, and yet in that podcast I think actually mentioned this on Tuesday, last Tuesday, when we first brought up The Witness on this Game of the Year podcast. But it's like, when you sit down to talk about The Witness, it's kind of hard to talk about anything other than all the weird philosophical stuff that's sort of in the background of the game, because it's like, it's interesting to talk about, and also I think kind of like a little ham-fisted compared to the rest of the game, which I think is almost like immaculate.
Yeah, I mean, it's much easier to kind of speak about something that is explicitly verbal than something that is explicitly nonverbal.
There you go. Yeah.
So it's kind of where you just kind of gravitate towards naturally.
Yeah, but I recently re-listened to that spoiler cast, and it was a real good one. I think anybody that has played that game should go check out that podcast, because it was really good. Or if you start The Witness now, when you're finished with it, go back, listen to that podcast. It was a good one.
Maybe I'll eventually play The Witness and listen to the podcast.
Maybe. I think you should.
Maybe.
It's fucking really good.
It's great.
An analogy I kind of made on that spoiler cast was like, you know that feeling when you start a new game and right off the bat in like the first 30 minutes, it shows you 5 different totally awesome things, and you're like, holy shit, this game's packed with variety. There's so much shit in this game. But then you realize as you keep playing, it's actually like 30 hours of those same 5 things over and over again. Like, it just tipped its hand immediately, or I should say showed its hand immediately, and then it was just the same from then on.
Sorry,
like,
which game?
Like any game.
Oh, okay.
Like, you just know that feeling where you think the game's full of variety at first, but then you realize it just showed all of its variety immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just the same for the rest of the game. And The Witness is like the absolute opposite of that, where when I first started it, I think so, where
it depends on how you kind of play through it.
I guess it does. But as as I started it, I was kind of like, okay, this game's pretty cool. The puzzles are fun and interesting, but like, I don't know, is this really all this game is? But then like, as I keep playing for 30 or 40 hours, it's like, I'm still like slowly learning new things all throughout that time period and experiencing new things. And it's just like, it was that exact opposite where you start and go, is this game empty? And then you're like, oh my gosh, I just keep encountering new things. It's so cool. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
It's so cool. Man,
And we haven't even
literally
talked
a
about
third of
the,
your list is puzzle games.
Puzzle games are good, guys. Puzzle games are real good.
Sorry, John, you said we haven't even talked about and then didn't.
We haven't even talked about the thing about the witness.
The
which
thing?
I don't want to spoil for if Keith's gonna play it soon. But there's a thing about that game that
You talking about those plus ones?
I'm talking about the plus ones, baby.
Oh, you can bring
Yeah.
someone with you into the game?
Yeah, you can bring whoever you want into that island. It's
Oh,
great.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Plus
I don't
ones,
think
plus
I don't think we
twos.
need to spoil what that is, but anybody who's played the game knows what we're talking about. And I think it's one more thing that adds to that like just list of surprising things. It's totally easy to play that game for 10, 20, 30 hours without even finding that plus one thing. But then once you realize what it is and you're like, holy shit, it's almost like you're seeing like a fourth dimension in The Witness that you weren't seeing before. You're like, oh shit, like these are everywhere now. Like this changes the way I look at this game.
It changed the way I looked at life, which is all I can ask for. No, I'm just kidding.
Didn't it?
It didn't. Well, I mean, I am sure it did in some way.
I actually have. I think Adam Conover of Adam Ruins Everything is one of those people where it was really surprising. Just like last week, Keith, you told me about it on our last podcast. He just put out an episode of his podcast. His podcast is usually just about talking to experts that have been on his television show, Adam Ruins Everything. But the most recent episode, he had just like recently finished The Witness, and he was just like, shit, I just really liked The Witness, and I wanted to talk to Jonathan Blow about it. So he just had Jonathan Blow on his podcast to talk about The Witness. And I think Adam Conover was like, this game changed the way I looked at the world. Which is maybe a bit hyperbolic, but
I remember after it came out, people would post on the internet just seeing all these kind of Witness-esque puzzles and just like everyday banal things.
Yep.
But I think I forget if I mentioned it on our spoiler cast, but if you're ever in Los Angeles, there is this beautiful estate called the Huntington Gardens and Museum in Pasadena, and it's like actually the closest thing that I've ever seen to like just being the island from The Witness in so many ways that when I went there, I was like tripping out. There's like,
oh, you
when
did mention this
I think I sent you some pictures
somewhere. Yeah, maybe just to me.
but yeah, if actually I tweeted them. If you go back on my very not very often used Twitter,
you're
I
talking
knew it would
about
come in
at
handy one day.
Davies John.
At Davies John, if you want to check these out, these tweets from 12th March 2016. There's like this big kind of reflecting pool stream that looks exactly like the line puzzle. There's a little bamboo jungle forest thing in the garden.
Yeah.
There are all these statues that are kind of frozen in place looking at the goings on. There's like a Chinese like tea room section of the botanical garden, which is like kind of similar to the monastery part of The Witness. It's really uncanny,
Right.
to the point where I feel like Jonathan Blow has probably been there.
Jonathan Blow
consciously
fucking ripped that shit off.
Jonathan Blow fucking ripped off the Huntington Gardens, and I'm gonna expose him for it.
Oh, I will kind of say about that the Adam Conover podcast with Jonathan Blow. I would say they talk a whole lot about all that like philosophical stuff that's in The Witness. And while I still wouldn't say that I agree with the kind of stuff that's in the game, I at least have a more like I understand Jonathan Blow's perspective on that stuff and why it was included now, and I'm like not as like annoyed by it as I was before. It's a lot of like weird random stuff about I guess as he puts it, the theme is like understanding the world. So there's like a lot of famous quotes from people that have, about how they understand the world and how they relate to the world. And I guess there's it's like this idea of like or at least one of the major ideas is that while science is great, that it ultimately or probably will not help us to understand like why the universe exists or like what made it. So I guess it's like Jonathan Blow seems to have this like chip on his shoulder about atheists who like worship science and like completely reject the notion of like an intelligent being creating the universe, which I think is like the word Austin used in our podcast was facile. I think that's the perfect word. It's just like super like oversimplification of like all that stuff, and like kind of ignores the idea that like material atheism is not about like saying that there was definitely no intelligent thing that created the universe, but is more instead about saying like, we don't know what it is, but it's definitely not any of the ideas that people have right now about what created the universe. Anyways. The Witness is a fucking 40-hour puzzle game that keeps surprising you with new things all the way throughout. It's just an absolute delight. The environments are beautiful and they're like so meticulously crafted. It feels like there's not a single like rock out of place. It just feels like everything was just so. Austin compared it to a British garden on our podcast, and also Adam Conover actually came to that same conclusion on his own in that podcast I just listened to. So maybe that's the perfect way to describe it. It's like a British garden of a video game.
I wonder if the Huntington is a British garden. I guess I wouldn't. I'd have to think about that.
I don't know. I don't know enough about gardening. Maybe I have to spend some more time in Stardew Valley. And the sad thing, last thought. Sad thing about The Witness is because progressing through the game is so much about like learning the new puzzle elements that it's almost kind of impossible to replay the game because so much of it is about learning that once you've already learned everything, there's, it's impossible to get that same experience again unless, I might try to replay it once now and then like put it in a box for 15 years or something and come back to it again later.
They compared it to a British garden, Adam Conover and Austin Walker. Does it have a garden hermit?
Ooh, what's a garden
hermit? You'll have to play and find out.
A garden hermit is a basically it's a homeless person that was encouraged to live in rich people's gardens.
Wait, encouraged?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Garden hermits or ornamental hermits were hermits encouraged to live in purpose-built hermitages, follies, grottos, or rockeries in estates of wealthy landowners, primarily in the 18th century.
Oh my god! So like literally,
such
just
hermits,
like a strange old man who lives in like a weird shack is like an element of your garden.
Yes, such hermits would be such hermits would be encouraged to dress like druids and remain permanently on site where they could be fed, cared for, and consulted for advice or viewed for entertainment. It's one of my it's one of my all-time favorite historical things. Is the garden hermit?
Hey, Keith, can I blow your mind?
Yeah,
maybe in The Witness, you're the garden hermit.
Oh my god.
Anywho.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the last game on our Game of the Year lists.
That's the last game that'll ever be made, actually.
Since I'm a crotchety old man who's forsaking all modern things starting in 2017, it's the last game I'll ever need to play.
All right, now let's duke it out and figure out our real list.
So yeah, now it's time to put our heads together, and let's be clear. This is where the podcast takes a turn for the pedantic, because it just
Oh, yes.
becomes
Yeah.
It just becomes like really arbitrary fights about nothing really as we squabble over whether a game should be 4th or 5th in the overall game of the year list.
Yeah.
But we should just get into it here. Do we want to? So let's, in typical fashion, let's put a line here. That will be the above the line does not make the list. Below the line does not make the list. Above the line, maybe. Do we want to start naming shit off?
Yeah, can I just propose something real quick?
Okay.
Although it was not on any of our actual top 10 lists, it seemed to be an honorable mention for all three of us. Maybe Hitman should be on the top 10 list.
I mean, ultimately, we could always consider it, but I think the reason it just doesn't work is if none of us liked it enough to put it on our list, we're not going to like it enough to put it on the overall list.
To be fair, I hadn't played it when we did the list, but I still, if it was on my list, it would be 10, right? Like it would be in the bottom half of the list. Because I've only played the first 2 levels, is the other thing.
Sure.
So
Me too.
I've only played the first 2 levels too. So why don't we could say first 2 levels of Hitman?
No.
Okay.
I feel like if I put it there, I would really just be humoring you because I just know for sure that there's gonna be enough fighting over like eliminating games that people really care about that like Hitman's just never gonna make it.
Especially because we have 23 other games to consider, which is a really long list for us, for 3 people.
Is it?
That means there was only 8 overlaps or 7 overlaps out of 30.
Let's just go round robin and list off some games. I put on The Witness. How about Keith?
I'm gonna start with Stardew Valley.
All right. Stardew. I'm going to even bump the size of this font down again. Do. John. And we can be deleting these from the bottom as we move them to the top.
How about Kentucky Route Zero Act 4?
Sure. All right. I'll put on Doom.
Final Fantasy.
Ooh. You know what? You write your own shit, and I'll.
Final Fantasy.
You know.
Do you want me to write my own shit?
Yeah, you put it up there.
All right.
You fucking put it up there, you piece of shit.
Jesus Christ.
You fucking piece of shit.
Can you please be gentle?
You. Oh, you. John? John.
Yeah.
Wake
Do
up,
you want me to write
John.
it myself? Yeah, I'm feeling a bit listless right now, but I'm gonna put on Thumper.
All right, I saw that one coming.
Ha 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 ha.
And I'll take off these ones down here. Let's see. I'm gonna put on Zero Time Dilemma. Because I like that game. That is a good game.
I'm gonna have to go with Sun and Moon. Kyle's already given up on the people adding their own.
Oh yeah, sorry. I guess
It's okay. Go,
I
keep
guess
going.
once I realized I could just do cut and paste. Once I remembered cut and paste, it wasn't really a problem after that.
I mean, it's been a long time since the Apple II, so I get it.
Oh, that's rough. That's real rough.
I guess this feels a little bit fruitless, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna put Inside on there.
Okay, that's not fruitless.
I don't know. I just feel like it'll get knocked off, but we'll put it there.
And
Number 10, Titanfall 2 was on all of our
Oh
lists.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wait, or Overwatch.
Was not on all of our lists.
Why don't we just agree they're both on there for now?
Okay.
And is that like? Oh, you know what?
Well, to be fair, I didn't play Overwatch, so I can't argue against it.
Okay, and I think we should definitely move up Stardew Valley.
It's already up there.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Well, good, because it should be. Wait, no, it's not.
It is. It's just a Stardew.
Oh, okay. You know what? That was me.
Yeah, that was
I'm
you.
a big jerkhead. I think
All
that's
right,
a good
so-
starting place.
Are we willing to just delete the bottom
No.
part of the list?
No.
We're going to keep it there?
And here's, are we willing to just delete Arctic Alive? Because what
No.
are you doing?
That would be a really good number 10.
Dude, you can't, like, I trust me, I get it, but, like, it's not really one of the 10
Okay.
best games, though, right? Like,
Hold on.
are you telling me
Let's
Arctic
all
Alive
go.
is
Let's
better
round
than...
robin. Let's
Are you
go. Let's each pick one to remove, and then we'll argue which one gets removed for real. You're picking Arctic Alive. John, what do you pick to remove?
Out of all these, Arctic
Yeah.
Alive.
I think that we should start by removing one of the 3 first-person shooters,
Why?
because there's 3 of them.
Sorry if it was a good year for shooters, dog.
I think that we should
Sorry.
remove either Titanfall or Overwatch.
I'm not
Overwatch.
ready to do that yet.
But let's talk about it. You, Kyle. What do you, between Titanfall 2 and Overwatch? Gun to your head. What do you say? Okay, the one of these has to go. Which one do you pick? Just for fun. Let's hear it.
That is shockingly difficult. I will say that Titanfall 2 was higher on my list, but I still just feel like there's like some magic to Overwatch.
There's something
that it's
magic
like-
about Overwatch,
It's
right?
just so well designed.
I agree.
It's
But on the other hand, this is a cohesive list representing us 3.
yeah.
Right, but
And,
this is also a fucking bottom of the barrel knock down, drag out, punch down, in your face fight.
I'm gonna take the initiative here to make a lower line that is like shit that's definitely not making it, like Pokemon Go and Stellaris.
Sure.
Be okay with those?
Yeah.
How about
I think it would be hard for us to move anything from the middle up to the top at this point.
I agree.
I'm willing for all of that stuff to be this is just not going to make it line. Because
I
we
would
already
say
have,
so.
12 up here? 3, 4, 5, 6,
The
7,
one
8.
thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put Pokemon Picross at the top of the bottom.
Okay, that's fair. You can do
'Cause
that.
I think if anything's moving up, I might want to try to push up Pokemon Picross.
Okay, now consider this. Overwatch, I think it's just got a longer tail in terms of how much I enjoy it than Titanfall 2. Even though I think Titanfall 2 is higher up on my list too.
But like, are you trying to decide between these two games purely because you feel like we can't have that many first-person shooters, or like or do you see these as like 9 and 10 on the list, and we need to get rid of them or something, or like 10 and 11?
It's a little bit of both. It's sort of the same thing as like you maybe liked Picross 3D more, but you put Builders up there. Like I just kind of feel like there's just a lot of overlap between what we're saying with the list when we have Doom, Titanfall 2, and Overwatch. And I feel like Overwatch is the most different, and that you deserve to have Doom up there because it was so high. And so that maybe Titanfall 2 takes the bullet.
Yeah, that's a compelling argument, I would say. Yeah, I feel like Titanfall 2, for as good as it is, and even though it is like a sci-fi game about robots and shit, it's probably the least new and fresh of the 3 of those. Like, it is just kind of like, it's just like Titanfall 1 again, and Titanfall 1 was just like Call of Duty with wall running and some robots.
Except Titanfall 1 didn't have a campaign, right?
It's true.
That's true.
That
And
campaign was
I'd
good.
love
It's
the-
not really just Titanfall 1.
I loved the campaign of Titanfall 2 as well. It was one of my favorite first-person shooter campaigns in a long time.
Let's do this. I'm going to do this.
campaign.
Hang on. I'm
Great
going
campaign.
to
I
put
felt compelled to finish it.
I'm gonna put
I guess it
Titanfall 2
wasn't that
right
long.
here. but then I'm going to put like a line. So like we have to, because up here is 10 games, right? Like this is 10. So now we have to like figure out, are we swapping one of these bottom 3?
Kyle's obsessed with creating subsections. Kyle loves.
Yeah, I think the Witcher 3 DLC, even though I only played one of them, should be in that top tier.
Listen, Keith, this is my 8th time doing this, and I kind of, I think we know what works at this point.
Okay. But to be fair, we did throw out something that worked really well because it worked too well.
Well, you know what? We could always redo that in a hot second.
Okay, now this is going to be this is a tough sell. I'm going to sell you guys on something tough, all right? So, John and I love The Witcher 3. Kyle and I haven't played Kentucky Route Zero. John and Kyle, how do you feel about switching The Witcher 3 DLC with Kentucky Route Zero, especially because it is the 4th act in a thing that's been going on for years, and Kyle and I have not played any of it?
I would say that I feel like being John's number 1 pick, I feel like somebody's
is it John's
number one
1
game. It's like you
It
can't.
was my number 1 game.
Okay, I didn't realize it was your number
violate
one.
that. I feel
Quote
like
someone from last year who was on this podcast and isn't, guys, it's my game of the year.
I feel like you
but that
can't
was also a terrible
violate
argument
the
then.
sanctity of the number 1 pick for somebody. Like it has to make the list.
We took off Andy's number 1 pick, and that
No, we
John
didn't.
just quoted it. Did we not?
No, we didn't.
We didn't take it off. We just didn't rate it very high.
Yeah, I think it was his number 1 was Fallout 4, and we put it like way down on the list.
Okay.
No, we put it at like number 4 or something. I don't know.
Well, whatever.
What about?
Well, Keith, you still want Arctic Alive on there, and it's a game that Kyle and I haven't played yet. It was like number 9 on your list. That doesn't make.
It is known for being a bad game. Like that's kind of why you're playing it. Is 'cause
I would
it's
argue
so bad.
I would argue that it is not known, and number 2, it is not on my list because it is a bad game. It is on my list despite its badness.
Well, I'm not saying any of that is wrong by your standards, but it's logically incoherent for the reasons you want Kentucky Route Zero off the list.
Boom.
That's fair. I'm just saying Arctic Alive makes a really good number 10 on a list pick because of the ways that it is able to be really compelling and interesting despite the fact that it is poorly conceived and frustratingly badly
So
designed.
you're basically giving it like the best
It's like a
try
magic- it's
award
like
or like
magic.
the most
It's like-
improved.
It is a magic the way that it is able to be incredibly compelling despite failing at everything it does.
I mean, I do like the idea of what you were describing being on the top 10 list. That tickles
Yeah.
me.
So
I get a kick out of
I
that.
think it's a good pick. I think it's a good pick for number 10. I think that we should keep it on just as a hey, let's see where we're at after we hack out this other stuff.
I think we
Hash
can.
out.
Yeah, I think we can circle back to Arctic Alive. I do not think we're done talking about it, but I would like
No.
to maybe go to
We
Thumper
never will be.
because Thumper is a game that like John was the only one that had played it before. Now I've played a number of hours of it, and like I like it a lot, but I just don't feel like it's a top 10 game for me.
I also haven't played it at all.
I feel like that game is like weird and psychotically difficult in a way that's really off-putting, and I feel like I really don't like that it doesn't have any options for adjusting like delay lag. Delay lag. That's the
Input lag.
display lag. Like there's no settings for that, so I feel like I'm always playing the game being like, this is crazy hard. Is there just like display lag that's ruining this for me, or like I don't know.
Can we, John? Is this a fair bargain to swap out Thumper for Witcher 3? Because I know that you're
I'd rather see Inside. I almost kind of, even though Inside was higher on my list than Thumper, I kind of want to see Thumper on the list more than Inside.
Okay, that's fair. Let's start there.
Let's
Well,
do
we're
that.
not guaranteeing.
Yeah.
Let's not guarantee Thumper, but if we're gonna get Witcher 3 in there, let's do it the way that John wants. Because it's kind
For
of
Inside? Well, I
For
think
Inside.
Witcher
Witcher 3
should
for Inside.
definitely be in there.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think that this is it is a good sell to switch out one of John's games that we maybe are not sold on for Witcher 3 just
Okay.
because John is a known Witcher 3 fan.
Now, here's what I'm looking at. I'm seeing a list that does
too.
not have I mean, it's a shame it doesn't have Titanfall 2 or Overwatch on it, but I think we've decided that of the two, we're going to pick Overwatch.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this list, and I am dismayed that it does not have Overwatch on it, but I'm even more dismayed that it does have Arctic Alive on it. So what if we swap those two?
But there's other things in here. Thumper. I think that Arctic Alive is a much more compelling number 10 than Thumper is a number 10.
I think you are
Thumper is
alone
a
in that opinion.
compelling number 9. Thumper is
What's
a
that?
compelling number 9, while Arctic Alive is a compelling number 10.
I feel like, Kyle, you are on the record as saying, I played a couple hours of this. I don't know if it's a top 10 game. And I think that
Yeah.
Arctic Alive is I think it's a very powerful choice
But
to pick as the number 10. I think it does a lot about what makes a game good
okay,
to
but
have a game that is not well made on its top 10 list.
In
It
the
sounds like Arctic
spirit-
Alive is actually your stealth game of the year. Is kind of what it sounds like.
in this,
It's not my game of the year, but it's one of the most important games of my
It's
year.
your stealth game of the year, is what I'm saying.
I would like to say that in the spirit
Your
of me
tactical
kind of
skill.
like tagging on my limited experience with Thumper, I would say that I watched you play about 30 to 45 minutes of Arctic Alive, and it looked like an insane garbage fire. So like while I'm like, hey, Thumper's
Yeah,
pretty
and
cool, but
so-
I don't know if it's top 10, like Arctic Alive was like literal fucking trash.
But now, Kyle, you watched 30 minutes of that game, and it looked like an insane garbage fire. So imagine how compelling of a game it must have been for me to go, I should put this as number 9
All
on my
right.
game of the year list.
Let me say this. If you really want to say that there's something about Arctic Alive that is truly compelling, I feel like you need to start talking and you need to sell us on that idea.
Okay, yes. Okay, so the thing about that game, the thing that it tries to set up for you is this that you're in this predicament. You don't know what's going on. You're alone in this thing. You're finding these weird journals talking about these beings that people are turning into these monsters, and nobody knows why. And people seem to even be compelled to want to turn themselves into these monsters. You don't know who you are. You wake up in a weird place. You don't know what's going on, and it's almost as if the game mechanics itself are trying to confuse you. It almost expertly blends in the confusion that your character is feeling into how the game is played. You wake up in a weird place, you find tomato packets in soil, and you're just like, I guess I'm gardening inside now. Like, I don't know what's going on. I have these meters. Like, I can die of depression. I can die of not washing my hands. There's bears outside. There's goo monsters downstairs. The music is actually surprisingly well done and really tense and suspenseful. And the fact that like sometimes the things don't work the way that they're supposed to, and sometimes you die for no reason, and sometimes the enemies see you and choke you out in a shockingly intimate way when they shouldn't have seen you at all, is I think a weirdly acceptable price to pay for the fact that that it is just a bizarre and strangely cohesive mess that is, I think, admirable for the way that it presents its own mess proudly and in a way that is totally confusing but playable. I beat the game with almost no issues, besides the fact that it's occasionally a frustrating stealth game. That's about the worst thing that the game has going for it, is that like you are trying to sneak around and sometimes it doesn't work
Okay.
in a way that all stealth games don't.
All right. So
Okay.
I will say that I am a bit swayed by your passionate screed just now.
It wasn't that passionate.
I was a little passionate.
Definitely
Can I
not
just
listless.
say,
Who's to judge, Mr. Listless?
can I just say one thing? I think Thumper has every right, as much of a right, to be on here as Zero Escape Zero Time Dilemma does.
Oh my gosh.
That's an argument I'm willing to hear.
No, hang on. Can I just bring this up?
Yeah.
Super hang on right now.
Why are we so quick to put Final Fantasy 15 on this list when none of us have finished it, but it will be eligible for next year's Game of the Year?
I feel like not that this game doesn't deserve to be on my list, but I feel like I'm extra passionate about playing that game because I'm currently swept up by Final Fantasy fever.
Okay.
In a way that I never had before because I haven't played a Final Fantasy game.
I fell off that game. I have not played it in a few weeks, and I don't really feel like there's anything pulling me back.
You should play some more of it. I think that you deserve it.
Maybe I do deserve it.
And John liked it.
I'm pretty deserving. John will like anything that says Final Fantasy on it.
That's not true.
I know it's not true. That's just me throwing John under the bus. John, did you play 13, 2, and 3?
I played a little bit. I played like 2 hours of 13-2, and then I questioned why I bought that game.
Okay, that's fair.
And then I played a little bit of the demo of Lightning Returns, and didn't buy that game. So,
all right, well. Clearly, from that brief conversation, I've determined John's feelings on Final Fantasy to be solid, to be solid and well reasoned.
But yeah, I like the 2 hours that I played of Final Fantasy 15.
2 hours.
Y'all should play more of that game. It's really good. It's like this game turned me from someone that was a complete skeptic, non-interest in Final Fantasy to someone who is like all about this game. I love it.
Okay, that's compelling. I mean, for me, like, it's really hard to.
And I know that Kyle, you're a longtime Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably the same amount of time as John. We were playing those games when we were like 10. Maybe you were playing them a little earlier because you had an older brother that was into the older Final Fantasy games.
Yes.
Yeah, but like I'm a longtime Final Fantasy fan, but I've definitely fallen off like since like really the last one that I really, really cared about was 10. And then like
that was PS2.
Yeah, and then there was 12 came out, and it really just didn't grab me.
12 was a great game. 12.
It was good. There's a lot to, but it didn't do for me what other Final Fantasy games do for me.
Well,
so,
7 was like your favorite game for a long time.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy 7 was like legit one of those like inflection points that I can definitely point to in like my like the evolution of like my taste and experience in games, where it was like
Final Fantasy 7 was like Kyle's KOTOR.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy 7 at the time when I played it was just like completely unlike anything else I had seen at the time, and I totally admit that a big part of that is just because I was a little kid that didn't have a lot of experience with like more like adult targeted games with like elaborate stories and shit.
Hey Kyle, how would you feel about revisiting that game sometime soon?
Oh man, that might be fun. I just I thought about like screenshotting our text conversation and just tweeting like, this is why I like John Davies. But I was like, I texted him in all caps like, John, we should do a Let's Play of Final Fantasy 7. Think about it. Are you thinking about it? And he just responded like, I don't have to think about it because the answer is obviously yes. I was like, yes. That doesn't actually mean that we're going to do it, but we could do it. We could do it here and there. We could see
I'm all in for that.
We could see how far we get. I mean, if you're all in, then let's just end this podcast now. Let's call this list. Let's call this a list and switch over to Final Fantasy 7.
Okay, well,
I'm free for the rest of the night.
In lieu of ending the podcast now and doing a Let's Play of Final Fantasy VII, I think that we have to hear out the argument of Thumper versus Zero Escape Zero Time Dilemma.
Oh shit!
Because one of those games gotta go, so we can get Overwatch on here.
Oh, are we sure the thing that gotta go is not Arctic Alive? Are we like really? John, what are you feeling about Arctic Alive?
You had
me
doing a passion plea, and I
Sorry, at some point, maybe about 15, 20 minutes ago, there was some sort of CPU overload. My thing stopped recording.
You're a monster.
I got distracted. I didn't notice. I wasn't looking at Pro Tools.
Yeah,
buddy.
this is why you don't fucking use Pro Tools.
Dang.
This is why I
tried to
shouldn't
tell
have
him.
a billion tabs open while I'm recording.
Yeah. Remember how I said last time we did this stream, I kept getting alerts from XSplit that it was like dropping frames on this static screen? Haven't had a single problem with it. Nothing different about my internet connection or my like what's happening on my computer, like what's running. No idea.
Very spooky.
Ooh, spoopy. All right. So what do you want me to say about Zero Time Dilemma?
I honestly, I want to start by saying this. I am more interested in having Zero Time Dilemma on this list than Thumper, mostly because it sounds like a really wacky visual novel. Visual novels being a genre that we don't have a ton of on our lists ever. I think this might be like the second or third.
You know, maybe this is tough because I feel like Arctic Alive, Thumper, and Zero Time Dilemma all kind of occupy that space of like really unusual, like niche game that a lot of people might not have heard of that's like cool to include on a top 10 list.
That's true, but the difference being that Thumper's a rhythm game and rhythm games are insanely popular and have been for a decade.
Well,
Not rhythm violence games, though.
So what I would say to that is that Thumper is a pretty different rhythm game. Like Thumper is a rhythm game and specifically not a music game, which is pretty different from most rhythm games. If that makes sense. Like there is a rhythm to what you're doing, but like it, you know, like the sounds that it is producing is closer to like a noise rock kind of thing than like actual music.
Noise rock is actual music.
What? All right.
So I think that we have to use Kyle. I think you and I have to use we have to take executive action and save Arctic Alive and Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma.
Whoa. You're saying we should pull rank as the two official members of Run Button to team up against poor John in his position of weakness?
No,
so I don't
think
get
it's
Inside
just
or
two
Thumper on this list?
Ooh.
Is what you're saying.
Guys, could
You
I...
willingly
what you're trying to
gave
do.
up
Whoa,
Inside.
Guys, could I suggest something radical?
Yeah.
What if...
Like a radical train?
What if we just lock the 10 games we have and say, you know what, Overwatch isn't on our list. It's everyone else's game of the year, but sorry, baby, Run Button don't play that same game. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Overwatch is a really good game. It doesn't need to be on our list. Am I right or am I right?
That's true, but Overwatch was so high up for you and I, and Thumper was pretty low down for John, right?
No.
it was my number 3, almost number 2.
Oh, it was number
game.
3? I thought it was
dang.
your number 6.
Yeah.
No, Overwatch is
No.
my 8.
Overwatch was I don't have my list anymore. I got rid of
Titanfall
it.
was my 6. Zero Time Dilemma was my 4.
Hey, if you guys want to lock the list here, I think we can lock the list here. I think
What do you think, John?
how's this sound?
Well, we just...
Hear me out
yeah.
here.
We
John.
just need to decide the order then, yeah?
John,
Right.
did you have Doom on your list?
Yeah, it was number 10.
10? We all had Titanfall 2 on our list. How about we bump out Doom for Titanfall 2?
Get fucked.
That doesn't
Hey.
make any sense.
I will
I think it
fight
makes
you.
perfect sense. We all agree that Titanfall 2 is a game of the year.
Yeah, the
just
only
because Kyle
problem
had
is that
Doom way
Titanfall
high
2,
up.
The only problem is that Titanfall 2 is like not even in the same realm as Doom.
No, Titanfall 2 is the best first-person shooter campaign I've played in years.
Yeah, except that I've played the campaign for Doom and Titanfall 2, and Doom is like head, shoulders, and every other body part above Titanfall 2.
John had Titanfall 2 above Doom.
It's true, I did, but there is something to be said about Kyle's passion. It is his number 2 game of the year, after all.
I don't think there's much to say about Kyle's passion. Doom's Doom. Titanfall 2, that's running on walls. Giant robots falling from the sky, weird time stuff, and building houses and that you jump on.
That is all pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think that we have to sacrifice Kyle. No offense. I think we have to sacrifice Kyle's passion
No.
for Doom
No.
for the fact that we all put Titanfall 2 on our list. That is,
I won't have
I think,
it.
a really compelling
This
argument.
is no. Let me tell you why this is hot bullshit.
It was your 6th. That's nothing to sneeze at, man.
No, hang on. Doom is my number 2 game. Final Fantasy 15 is only on one person's list, and it was not fucking number 2. So
But
if
so is
anything's getting
Thumper.
bumped off, it's Final Fantasy 15.
What, before Thumper?
Before Doom.
Oh, but there's a lot. Again, it was only on one of our lists is not a compelling argument this year because we all had such different lists. There was 23 out of 30 games were unique.
Okay,
But I think it does matter that Titanfall 2 was on all of our lists. I don't even know if there was another game on here that was on all of our lists. I think it's the only one. Maybe Pokemon Sun and Moon?
no.
No?
Um,
Because Titanfall 2 is our only consensus game.
yeah, I would say that it is, but like Final Fantasy 15 was not on my list because I didn't enjoy it enough to be on my list. So like, doesn't that mean it should be given lower priority than Doom, a game that was my number 2 and John's number 10?
There's games on here that I didn't include because I didn't enjoy it very much, and one of those is Doom.
What?
Huh.
Yeah, I
You
didn't.
played like the first level, if that.
Yeah, and I stopped playing.
Which is
You
by
played
far
two.
the worst level. Like,
I played the first 2 levels, and then I played later on in your save file like a hard mode thing. Remember?
I've
And I've got access to it. I chose to not play it because I was like, this is fine.
All right, I think we're getting.
This is what you wanted. You wanted this.
Yeah, I did want this. I think we're getting. I guess where I'm coming from was like, I think we were on a good track with like, do we keep the list the way it is? Do we trade one of the lower games for Overwatch? And then all of a sudden you were like, let's fucking take off Doom. And I was like,
Well,
where's
I
this
tried
coming
to go.
from?
I tried to go with Thumper, but I got blocked by both of you guys.
Well,
I
maybe
think
that
if I had to
maybe
take
that
off
means
one
that Thumper
game
stays
for-
and we don't put Overwatch on, or Titanfall 2.
Well, that's why I think that Overwatch I think Overwatch deserves to be on. But if we can't do Overwatch
Sure,
for
like,
Thumper,
I think a lot of games deserve to be on, but it doesn't mean they're going to be.
what? Okay. Well, I think that I have found faith in this our one consensus pick argument. I believe in that now. Is there something for Titanfall 2 for Thumper, which again was on all of our lists and is not in our top 10 somehow?
Keith is highlighting like a madman right now, by the way. Well, he just stopped.
Yeah.
John, you've been a little quiet. How are you feeling about all this business?
All this business?
Yeah.
I'm feeling very targeted right now.
Well, I had just been targeting Doom, which is not. Which was your number 10.
Yeah. Let's. How do I feel about this? I think Final Fantasy 15 could come off. That's the one that kind of sticks out to me.
Would you prefer to take Final Fantasy 15 off and switch it for something else, or would you prefer to keep the list the way it is?
I'm fine with the way the list is right now.
I'll put this out there. The Witness and Doom are my number 1 and number 2, and I feel like those are the only 2 games that I will not allow the list to not have those 2 games. And I feel like as my top 2 picks, that's like fair. Am I wrong here?
That's how I feel about Kentucky Route Zero, which obviously is on there, and then Thumper and/or Witness, Thumper and/or Inside, and I already gave up Inside, so I want Thumper on there.
What were mine?
That's how I feel.
What was my number 2 game?
No Man's Sky. Oh, we actively dislike that game.
No, I don't think that was my number 2.
I
think
mean,
it
if
was.
you can't remember,
I closed my list. Sticky. Maybe it just saved in sticky notes. Maybe it just has the last thing that I did. Is that how sticky notes work? It won't load?
Sorry, I just got a pop up on my screen of a text message from Courtney that just said, just starts off with #blessed my N word. It's just like, never change, Courtney.
Is there a
You're a tornado of madness.
Hey, Keith, if you can't find your list, who's the listless one now, huh?
Ooh. Okay, so I found see new changes. All changes. Okay, great. So it was okay, yeah, No Man's Sky was my number 2. Yeah, so I allowed my number 2 to be taken off because nobody liked it.
You didn't even say a word about it.
Well, because I knew that it would be taken off, so I put Final Fantasy on instead. That's my number 3. I did that as a preemptive.
All right, guys, do we want to God damn, why is Arctic Alive still on this list?
It deserves
Wasn't that your, like, number 10?
It was my number 9.
That's a little silly.
Or no, sorry, it was my number 8. It was my number 8.
Can
I
we
put
not switch
Stellaris, then
Arctic
put Logo, then
Alive
Arctic Alive.
for Overwatch or Titanfall and call it
I won't
a
allow
list?
it. Nope.
You won't allow it?
I won't allow it. Here's the thing. I sacrificed my number 2.
Okay.
I'm
following.
I sacrificed my number 2. I don't want to have to remove another one of my games in order to put a game that all of us had on our list instead of either Thumper or Doom.
Okay.
It was in the bottom half of all of our lists, though. To be fair,
And
But
just,
it was on all of our lists.
yeah, but
That
that
is
doesn't
very important.
necessarily, like, I feel like
It was what? It was John. What was it for you? It was 6 for Kyle. That's
I
not
think
bottom
it was,
half. I mean, it is
8 or
literally bottom
7
half
for me.
but-
6
Let me
is
look
the
it
bottom
up.
half, Keith, of 10,
Yeah.
by the way.
I already corrected myself. But just let me laugh.
No, I think you're right that there is something to the fact that it was on all 3 of our lists.
It
but
was
I feel
5
like,
for me, 6 for Kyle, 7 for
I think it was
John.
7 or
but
8.
you know,
for me.
like, if we're just talking about the top 5 games of all of our lists, that's 15 games, and we need a top 10 list. So I don't think it's unreasonable that even though it's the one game that was on all of our lists, that it's not really none of us are passionate enough about it to make it one of the games on the overall list.
I think that
also, it was number 9 on my list. I'm looking at it now.
I think that Kyle, you were the one that made the point of sometimes we put games that would otherwise be lower on because of sort of barely explainable emotional reasons.
Yeah, but I like that's what Arctic Alive is, but I don't feel like maybe you feel like that. I don't feel like John or I feel like that about Titanfall 2.
Yeah, I don't think
Or-
any of us really have that emotional. Do you have an emotional connection to Titanfall 2?
I really liked the game, and again, it was my favorite
I really
first-person
liked it
shooter
too.
campaign that I've played in years. I thought it was a really, really good campaign. I had a ton
I thought
of
it
fun
was really,
playing
really
it.
good too.
You were compelled to finish it.
I was. It wasn't that long though.
No, it
No,
was. It was
I'm
pretty short.
just using your own words.
I was just saying that in opposition to Doom,
Right.
which I don't feel compelled to
Right.
finish.
See, you did not feel compelled to finish that, but you did Titanfall 2. I think that we should.
John played Doom on hard out of the gate, and I feel like I think that was a silly move on his part. And
I
he's
did-
talked
I
about
switched
having
it-
a hard time with it.
I switched down to normal when I got to hell though,
Oh, okay.
because at that point I was just like, I don't want to keep reloading this game and wasting time in the load screens.
Well, what difficulty did you play Titanfall 2 on?
Normal.
Normal. Okay.
I'm on team. This list is a list. And
All
I
right.
think we should just drop
I am willing
Overwatch
to.
and-
I am willing to hear. I am willing to say that this list is a list. I really think that we should remove Doom in favor of Titanfall 2.
That
2 games.
is crazy.
It's not crazy.
You're
it's
a monster.
very
Get outta
normal.
here.
It's very normal to have. It was barely on John's list. It was high up on your list. I actively didn't care about it.
Listen. It's my number 2 game. I'm crazy passionate about it. There's no reason to take it off the list. I understand your number 2 game is not on the list. We haven't really discussed putting it on. I'm pretty against that idea, but you did get your crazy weird number 9
Yeah.
Arctic Alive pick in exchange.
And
So-
again,
wanna po-
number 8
Keith,
for
I
Arctic
wanna
Life. I was
point
wrong. It was
out
number
how-
8.
Hold on, Keith. I want to point out how many of these games on this list are only on your list and no one else's.
All right, fine.
Just
We
saying,
can.
Just saying.
which is a recurring theme of Run
we
Button
can lock
games of
the
the
list
year.
in.
And I'm
Let's
fucking
lock
sick
it
of
in. It's fine. We'll just figure out the order. We can
So,
create.
okay, let's look. How much?
I'm turning
of
this into a solid line. That's a solid line. Now.
Oh dang!
Dang.
Now, you guys, how strongly do you feel about the Witcher 3 DLC now?
I didn't play the second one, but the first one's pretty good.
Yeah, and John, that Witcher 3 was your game of the year last year, right? Or maybe
It
number
was.
2? Yeah.
Let's make it our game of the year this year.
No, I'm still butthurt about The Witcher 3 being last year's game of the year, so I would really appreciate
here's-
if its fucking DLC was not game of the year
But
this
here's
year.
the thing. The DLC is just as good as the DLC is
I didn't
easily
think
the
it was-
best.
I don't think it was game of the year good last time.
You
so
haven't
saying
played
the
it.
DLC's
You've
better
barely
doesn't really
played that
move the
game.
needle for me.
You should play more of The Witcher because you'd really
That
like it.
is undeniable, but
There you go. See, look at that. Perfect way to get you
Listen,
to play it more
I-
is to have it midway up on the list.
I know that this is definitely like a semantic thing. Maybe that's not the right word, but like at least where game of the year is concerned, I don't want to say our game of the year was 2 different content packs for a pre-existing game acting as one game.
Maybe this is a semantic thing, Kyle, but I wouldn't just call them content packs.
Yeah, they were each like 30
Mic
hours.
drop. Those were full ass games.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah, they absolutely were.
yeah.
I'm just saying that I feel exceedingly strongly that the Witcher 3 DLC should be limited to number 2 and lower.
No, I
Well-
don't think it should be either. Is The Witness the game of the year? Though?
I said, I came.
probably
My
fucking should be.
my initial bargain thing was I think it should be midway on the list. That's what I had
yeah,
said.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want to
like,
just slap a 5 next to The Witcher 3 and then work above and below that?
I mean, I think we can move. I'm going to move The Witcher 3 right now to 5th place. And then, like, how much maneuvering do we need to do
That's-
beyond this? Because I feel like this looks like a pretty good order.
That's 6th place.
I think Kentucky Route Zero maybe looks a little high to me, but, you know.
Oh, wait, hold on. Are you starting at 1 and going to 10?
I'm treating the top of the list as number 1.
No, I think
Where's
that we
your
can't do
number?
that.
What is your number 1, Keith?
My number 1 was The Witcher 3.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Yeah,
You're
if it were
weird.
Kentucky Route Zero Act 3, I would say it needs to be this high. But since the Act 4, while still amazing, yeah, put it.
How about
it
can I
below ten.
can I
You can
can
put
I
it
make
below
a couple can I make a couple moves real quick?
Sure.
And we can remove them if we don't feel like that's accurate.
I think we
10?
can probably agree that Arctic Alive and Thumper are locks for
9.
10 and 9.
Yeah.
8.
Okay.
How's that look?
No, Kentucky Route Zero needs to be higher.
I'm fine with having that above Zero Escape, so we could do that.
Guys, it's my game of the year.
Yeah, above. That's better then.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with 6. Put Kentucky Route Zero at 6.
Why? Oh, okay,
At
we're doing
6?
the descending
Well, hold
order
on.
thing.
Let's 10. No,
Or
we,
4.
This,
well,
this
let's
is this is a debate we get into every year about whether it should be an ascending or descending list.
Yes. Why would it be an ascending list?
Because,
That's crazy.
Because the one at the top is the best one.
No, but
It's like
you
a
work
food
your way
pyramid
to
of
the best
games.
one.
Wait, that's
You
not
don't
how the
start-
food pyramid works.
You don't start a list with like, okay, think of any listicle you've ever read. It's like, okay, let's start with the best thing and then slowly go down to the worst and least interesting ones.
No, but
that's
that's-
crazy.
Okay,
You
but
it's a countdown.
No, all right. I just want to. We're not going to get into it because we've argued it to death, and I honestly don't care. But the argument here is that you treat the list as like a reading each one by one, as if it's like a fucking click to see next item list, and I'm treating it as one item that like just stands. So it's like best shit at the top, least best shit at the bottom.
No, it's got to be a countdown.
I don't care. So just do it your way.
I'm very passionate about that. I think that okay. Here's what I think.
Here's what I think.
No. No.
Fucking get out of here with your fucking. I hate when word processing software does this. When you
Does
do
what?
a 1 and it's like, oh, this is a list now. It's like, no, I just wanted it to be
Well,
a 1.
It is a list.
It is a list, but I
But
mean,
it's
maybe
not-
we could save ourselves some headaches by just. All right, well, there we go. I fixed it. So Stardew Valley was on your list, Keith. Where was it?
Pretty high. I think it was
I thought I remember it being
6.
low.
I think it was
That's not that
6 on my
high.
list.
I think you lowballed Stardew.
I did. I agree. I totally lowballed, especially after seeing that I had played 125 hours of it. I absolutely lowballed Stardew.
Can we? What if we do like this?
Yeah, it was
What if
6.
we do Pokemon at 6? I guess The Witcher is staying at 5 because
would
we
love to
determined that ahead
see-
of time.
I would love to see. I would love to see Stardew. Yeah, in the top 5 for sure.
John, could you offer some input on the state of this list?
Doom looks a little high. So does Final Fantasy 15.
You know, I've made a lot of silent concessions here, and some not so silent ones. I would like Final Fantasy to be at least top 3.
I am provisionally fine with that.
What's the provision? I would also. Okay, here's what a good top 5 looks like to me.
I think Stardew Valley makes the most sense as a number 2 because from what I played, I really enjoyed that game too.
Okay, so how's
I'm
this
fine with
sound?
that.
Either going from 5 to 1, Witcher, Doom, Final Fantasy, Stardew.
That's essentially what I just
Witness.
suggested. Yes.
Well, I just wanted to, talk it out.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to know it. I want everyone to know that I'm fuming that The Witness is number 1 because I fucking.
It's.
I mean, it kind of has to be
It
by
just
default,
is.
right?
It was like
It's a game that I admittedly did not play.
Yeah.
But that I did, and that I know very little about. But that is only because what I know about it did not interest me at all.
Yeah, but like what you know about it is admittedly like the worst part of it, but it is such a small part of it.
Well, I also, do you remember when you were showing me the Steam controller and you were going through The Witness? I watched that. Like that's
I don't remember
it just
that.
doesn't. It just like looks bored. It just looks.
Okay, well,
I
Arctic
don't
Alive is
care
a
about
fucking
it.
like nightmare, like demon creation of a video game, and that's on
No,
the
it
list,
is a
so-
joy. It is a joyful. It is an exuberant experience.
It is a horrific mistake of nature. It's against God, and it's actively begging for death at every turn.
You gotta walk around in the snow and look for hot ones. You can fish in the ice.
Wait, hot ones?
Hot ones and cold ones.
What are you talking about?
You have to get the hot ones and the cold ones and throw them in the vat. They glow.
I feel like at some level, us having Arctic Alive on this list is like the same as if we just made number 10 Shenmue.
Yes, except for that
Like,
this
it came out
did
17 years ago, and also it's fucking terrible. But here we go, 10th
Okay,
best game of the
but
year.
that's actually a really good example of like what I'm talking about with Arctic Alive, which is that even though every single piece of Shenmue is stupid and dumb, it like somehow is it is a joyful experience. But
I disagree
also it is a lot less
that
boring.
Shenmue is I think even if Shenmue came out this year and we liked it as much for the same ironic reasons, I wouldn't put it on
But
the
think
list
of how
because
much
I think
fun
there's
that
enough
we
about
have.
Shenmue that sucks.
Think
Like-
about how much fun that we have when we're playing Shenmue, though.
We have had some fun, but think about how many times we've just walked in circles at the dock going, "What the fuck?"
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Arctic Alive doesn't have those parts. Mostly. There's
Well,
one time when I was like super
I'm-
stuck, but
Well, how much grape soda does it have?
none. But it does have aerations.
It's got hot ones and cold ones.
It does have hot ones.
Do you
and
know
cold
when you
ones, so it's
do you know
fine.
when you imbibe in an aeration? That has that.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Yo, are we putting Stardew Valley at number 2 or
It's
not?
what it calls a bottle of water. It calls it
Oh.
narration.
Really?
Yes, really.
Just put Stardew at number 2 and be fucking done with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really like Stardew at number 2.
I do too. I actually, I totally lowballed Stardew. It was oversight on my part.
All right.
Is this it?
Is that our
We got
list?
it?
I guess that's it. I really just fucking hate that it's Witcher 3 DLC, not like
Okay, fine.
I can
name
I
of
can
something.
put the
Here,
names in
here.
there. Do you want me to put the names
No,
in there?
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
I'm doing it. I got it.
All right.
Hearts of
One
Stone and Blood on the Sand.
Blood and Wine. Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. I think it's actually an ampersand in Blood and Wine.
So we'll switch them around.
Sure, fine. You sure you don't just put 2 ampersands? Just fucking sack up and do it. Hearts of Stone and Blood
No,
and
it is
Wine.
not an it is
comical.
not an ampersand in Blood and Wine.
Oh, okay. I got it. God damn, I think that's a list. Do we?
Yep.
I'll do the final rundown here.
A lot of Roman numerals on this list.
Starting at the top, we've got number 10 with a bullet, Arctic Alive. And we've got number 9 is Rhythm Violence Game Thumper. Number 8 is Bizarre Cinematic / Escape Room Madness Adventure, Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma. We've got number 7 is...
I prefer the sequel Zero Escape, Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that one had Jim from The Office, so it's obviously better.
Yeah.
What's his name? Something...
John Krasinski.
John, I knew it was Krasinski. I couldn't remember the first name. Anyways, then number 7, we've got Kentucky Route Zero Act 4. I would need John to give me like a quick 4-word description of what that game is, because I don't know how to describe it.
It's a magical realist point-and-click story-based game.
Boom. Then we've got the fucking creature-catching juggernaut Pokemon Sun and Moon at number 6. Number 5 is Witcher 3 microtransaction content packs, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine.
Hearts of Stone, Blood, and Wine.
Number 4 is breakneck action revival shooter Doom. Number 3, we've got Bromance in a Convertible, Final Fantasy 15. Number 2, we've got farming simulator that'll charm your socks off, Stardew Valley. And then number 1 is it's The Witness. Engrossing
Yay.
puzzle adventure, The Witness.
I just want to say that for as much fucking stink as you made about The Witness,
Yeah.
you gave a tag to every single one of these games, and you said number 1, The Witness.
Yeah. I kind
He
of
gave the tag after.
I did that.
He
I
did, but
that
only because he just
partially-
realized how listless he
on.
was.
Hang on. Give me some credit. I did do that knowing that it would be funny that it's number 1 on the list, but I just kind of like did an offhand, like,
that's
hey, it's The
fine.
Witness. But also, it's just hard to describe what that game is.
Yeah.
Oh man, guys, could I tell you? My number 1 game of the year is the overall Run Button game of the year for like maybe the first time ever.
Yes, it's literally always me that gets it.
It's always Keith, and this time it's Kyle, baby.
And I think that I still did win the get the most of your games in their competition. Really threw me through a loop that John pointed out while we were still arguing it. Usually people don't notice
I know
until
it's always Keith's
after.
favorite thing. He holds his cards close
I
to the
win
vest
it.
that he's secretly playing the game of how many of my own games can I get on the list, but he doesn't tip his hat because he doesn't want people to catch on to his game and fucking start knocking his titles off. But I feel like, if anything, we let you get away with it this time because you took off your number 2 game with basically no argument, which I appreciate, because an argument about whether or not we should include No Man's Sky would have been intolerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we
Did
wanna-
I
let's
have
all-
5 games on here, I think, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Anybody else get more than 5?
Jesus Christ, I only have 4?
I've got 4.
I mean, like, I've never played Arctic Alive, or Kentucky Route Zero, but like all the other games I've played and I like them. So like
Yeah.
that's fine, but only 4 of them are from my personal list.
Kyle, you should watch the Let's Play of Arctic Alive.
Maybe.
It's worth your time. It's very short.
Honestly,
it's like 6 hours.
I have avoided
Or less.
it up to this point specifically because I'm afraid that I will watch it and just be like, sad is the wrong word, but I'll just feel like really jealous that I didn't get to like be experiencing this game and like reacting in real time and like having the fun of whatever nightmare.
Kyle gets
madness
wicked
Arctic Alive
FOMO.
is. Yeah. I'm afraid of that FOMO. I don't want to watch it because I'm gonna get that FOMO.
Kyle's
FOMO
always getting
for
that
show.
FOMO.
Yeah.
Mr. FOMO, Kyle Churchill.
Well, I recommend everybody watch the Arctic Alive Let's Play. It is short and sweet. It might be our shortest standalone Let's Play that we have on the whole channel. Easiest to digest.
We've got like Riven was 6 hours or something. Is it shorter than
How many
that?
episodes was it?
3. It was like
Okay.
3 2-hour episodes.
Oh, great, yeah. I always forget how many episodes there are in Arctic Alive. It's either 11 or 12, but
All right. Well, you know what? It's getting late. I need to pee real bad.
We got to start our Final Fantasy VII recording right after this.
Man, definitely not, but we should. And you know, we have to talk about, do we play like the original version or do we get one of those fan translations that retranslate the game? Because I kind of want to see that. I'm interested.
I don't know about that.
Well, we can talk about it. Yeah, that's
everything.
2016, like we said at the beginning.
Pretty good.
Terrible year, all things considered. But for video
Right,
games
yeah.
specifically, I think it was a phenomenal year.
Pretty good. Pretty good year for video games.
All right. Anyone else got any final thoughts on 2016 in video games?
Play Kentucky Route Zero.
I will try to.
I also will try to. Of the games that are on the list that I have not played, the one that I am most likely to play is Kentucky Route Zero. Or at least the first 1 or 2. Maybe not all 4, but...
Play the first 2. The first one is so brief that
Sure,
it's kind
yeah.
of hard to tell.
Yeah.
It really seems right up my alley. I was saving when Kentucky Route Zeros first started coming out. I was saving them to like play all at once, and I didn't realize that it would take like fucking years. So,
Sure, yeah.
so now I feel like I kind of missed the boat, and also they're still not done making them.
Yep.
Yeah, there's one more.
I would like to throw out about the Zero Escape series. Like I said, I spent maybe like 2 solid months this year playing basically no other games besides the 3 Zero Escape games in order. So I think they're really good, and anyone interested should check them out. But the problem with playing the first game is that you either have to play it on the original DS, and the cartridges go for like $20. I guess you could emulate it. That's one way to do it. The other way is a really bad iOS version that like removes all the puzzles and makes a lot of other terrible concessions. So I would say if anyone's interested, if your only option is to do the iPhone version, just wait till they put out that remake on Steam and play that instead.
Yeah. Kyle,
Yes.
what do you think about having a podcast soon about doing an Answitchapation podcast?
Oh my goodness. And Switchapation is that is
Maximum.
that is a basement tier pun. that I cannot get on board with. But
No,
yeah,
anticipation.
I'm on board with it.
Thank you,
The
John.
anticipation builds within my heart.
I think we already talked a pretty good deal about the Switch on that.
Well,
like,
we
Mario
talked about the
Tennis
Switch.
video.
We talked about the Switch on like very pure, like almost like brass tacks,
Sure.
I guess like anxieties about what might happen with the Switch. But that was also like weeks before like the big press conference about it, the reveal of any of the games,
Yeah.
and like looking at them. So I think there's a lot more to talk
Right.
about, and a lot more to be excited about instead of just like a sort of broad, detached fear for what might come.
Okay,
Right?
maybe that's different about us because I was really excited about it before. Not that I'm not excited now, but I feel like that big like press conference they did little to make me more excited about the Switch. If anything, I was kind of
Okay.
like put off by their weird focus on like Wii style motion control party bullshit.
Sure, yeah. But now after like seeing it and like being like the games are real, I can, in addition to being like taking a wide look of like, okay, well here's why this might be another bad purchase of another short-lived
Sure.
system.
Yeah.
I can now go like, well, at least I get to play these at least I get to run around in New Donk City.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up like on this podcast that we might possibly do. We can also put aside time to plan the
Our
specific ways in
pending
which
lawsuit.
we will legally go after Nintendo for infringing on our intellectual property.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it, guys. Thank you for sticking it out. I think unlike the last time we did that like 2-day split for our Game of the Year recording, I think, and you know, maybe some of this is on, maybe it has to do with some of the people that were involved in that one that weren't involved in this one, who could say, but I think it worked out really well.
Yeah, I felt kind of off for the first hour.
I think we
enjoyed
got
my
in
time
there.
here today.
I just
and
felt
on
off.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let's fucking erase this shit down here. We don't need any of that extra business.
No.
Going
I
up
feel
the works.
I feel pretty good about this list. I don't. Here's the thing: is that this was a year where I felt weird about the top games on my list in a way that I never have. I felt insecure about the order of them,
Really?
and also the fact that I feel like I should have had games that I was more passionate about up top. But I also felt like they deserved it more. So that's part of why I didn't even
Okay.
start an argument about No Man's Sky. Is that even though
Yeah.
I loved it, I can see why it wouldn't be on a list. I don't know. I just felt a lot more passionate about my lower games.
Weird.
Keith, maybe
for
that
me,
means
what?
maybe that means you didn't like No Man's Sky quite as
No,
much as
no,
you thought
no.
you did.
It's
quite as much as you're making
Keith,
yourself.
I
out
know
the
there's a
big
lot of
fan
dumb,
it.
I know there's a lot of dumb people out there that don't like No Man's Sky for the wrong reasons, but it's okay not to like No Man's Sky, Keith. Just
No, I love No Man's
just
Sky.
invite it in. Just
it's-
open your arms.
Well, because here's the thing. Because last year I had The Witcher 3 as my game of the year, and this year I had The Witcher 3 DLC as my game of the year. And I think that says
That's
something about how
madness.
much I like The Witcher 3, right?
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
also says something about like the games that I played this year not being able to top last year's best game.
Sure. Okay. Sure. I mean, for me, I really don't feel that way. I was very passionate about like my top 3 or 4 games, which is basically why, like, when you suggested taking off Doom, I reacted as though you said that you were gonna go murder my family one by one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've always liked video games more than you like your family.
Oh, sure. I mean, they're fine. Like, take them or leave them, but like, it's not gonna. It's no double barrel shotgun with all upgrades. I'll say that much.
Right. Go back to watching Fox News, Grandma. I've got a double barrel shotgun with all the upgrades.
All the upgrades. Keith, can I tell you about the upgrades?
Yeah?
Listen to this. Normally, double barrel shotgun, you're using 2 shotgun shells, right?
Yeah.
But this one, they're upgrading it so that each time you pull the trigger, it's 2 blasts, just like always, but it only uses 1 shell, and you don't have to reload. So you get 2 double barrel shotgun blasts for half ammo before it has to fucking open the thing up and take the shells out and put in the new shells. That's
Wow,
some hot
that sounds
shit.
like 50% off.
That's some hot shit. That's like 75% off.
That sounds like maybe we should move Doom up.
That's
above
yeah,
Final
exactly. You
Fantasy
guys
15.
didn't
No,
understand what I was saying.
We've
before.
already locked it in. The podcast is essentially over. This is extra. Hey, if you're still listening to this, you're getting extra.
Yeah, all the you know what the fucking shitbag, fair weather people. they tuned out as soon as we said it was a lock, but the people still listening are the real fans that actually care. They fucking
That are going to get to
it.
see the true
The
list.
people that are going to
we
go
will
to
now read.
contentburger.biz.
Sorry, this
sign
list
up
was
to
a
get-
decoy list, and now we're gonna start the real list.
Okay,
That other
number
list
one,
was
No
the
Man's
mountain
Sky.
of- This list is the post game of The Witness, where you go into the mountain.
Listen,
Great.
guys,
Spoilers.
can we just get out of it? Let's just we're done with the podcast. We had a great time.
Let's
Go to
just
contentburger.biz.
let's just drop the needle on In the Hall of the Mountain King and stroll out of here.
Let's do it. We got to do another time clap,
Oh,
Kyle.
good call.
especially because my thing is now chopped
Yeah,
up.
yeah, for sure.
All right, let's,
no, so another time clap. But I do
Wait,
want to
clap at
implore.
59 minutes.
Oh
Shut
my
up, Keith.
God!
Clap at
Fine,
59 minutes.
I won't talk about the site that you go to pay us money, and instead we'll clap.
Thank you. Now, please talk about the site where people give us money.
I assume that this podcast will, I know for a fact that this podcast will be up in time for you to go and participate in the voting for the next,
Yes.
the next paid Let's Play.
Yes.
So if you are in the market for watching a paid Let's Play that you can help decide on, and then
Yeah.
also have access to the other paid Let's Plays that we've done, sign up now and go to the site. It'll be up there as a post.
Yeah.
and you'll be able to find it.
Unlike our nation's democracy, this shit works. And it is not broken. Your voice will be heard.
This is a direct democracy.
Yep.
No indirect democracy and secret oligarchy happening here.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, super special guest John.
Thank you for
I
having
always
me.
Appreciate having you on. And let's call it, guys. That's it.
That's it.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. All right, now let's really start the real list. Put No
Okay,
Man's
great.
Sky up top. That game's amazing.